Bezos and Lauren Sanchez reportedly already got legally married in the U.S. before
Jeffrey Bezos.
Before their extravagant multi-million-dollar 3-day-long wedding celebration in Venice, according to sources that told Page Six this.
I had a feeling this might happen because the same sort of scenario happened when my wife and I had a destination wedding in Puerto Rico. You handle it here, and then you don't have to jump through some of the loops that you have to jump through out of the country.
So, although the couple is hosting the ceremony in the island of San Giorgio Maggiore, Italian officials confirmed they did not file the necessary paperwork to marry under Italian law. So it's supposedly happening today. One city official said, I can totally rule out that they will have a civil ceremony in Venice, citing the lack of required documents. Legal experts say that this is not uncommon and that many Americans marry stateside first to avoid complications abroad, with one attorney explaining often marriage in a foreign country is not valid in the United States.
Did you hear the rumors about what he's giving her for the wedding? He has purchased her Portugal.
Oh, my God. Isn't that sweet?
It's wonderful.
Nice.
Wow.
It's wonderful. She loves it.
The pair also signed, now it says here, a multi-million-dollar prenup. I'm thinking that's a multi-billion-dollar prenup.
Yeah.
But reportedly enforceable no matter where the marriage has taken place. And they can get married anywhere, as a prenup would generally be drafted to include its enforceability anywhere, according to a divorce law.
Just ask Bezos' first wife.
Yeah.
Who's one of the wealthiest women in the world.
And just giving it all away as well. And that's very admirable, actually, what she's doing. Speaking of rich people, Anna Wintour is stepping down from American Vogue, marking the end of an era for the fashion icon who transformed the magazine since taking over in 1988. Wintour announced the news in a staff meeting, revealing that she's searching for a new editorial head, but she is not headed to the beach to sip Mai Tais just yet. While she's leaving her role at American Vogue, she's not leaving fashion entirely. In fact, she'll remain as Vogue's global editorial director and Condé Nast's chief content officer, continuing to oversee major titles like Vanity Fair, GQ, and Architectural Digest.
So there's no way she's rolling over it. But you know who the number one rumored pick for her is to run the whole empire? Mama June Shannon.
No, really?
Wow.
That makes no sense.
Wintour, who started at British Vogue, revolutionized fashion journalism and became a cultural icon, known for her signature bob sunglasses and famous icy demeanor.
Yeah.
And the fame of her only grew after The Devil Wears Prada came out, and it was loosely based on a memoir from her ex-assistant.
I always forget she's British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom, according to People magazine, have officially gone their separate ways.
Oh.
You're seeing all the signs of it. He's attending the Bezos wedding solo.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a moment. After nearly 10 years together, a source close to the couple insists that it's all amicable. The insider said that Katy is, of course, upset, but is relieved to not have to go through another divorce, calling their split a long time coming. The couple, who share their daughter, Daisy Bloom, have reportedly been living apart since Perry hit the road on her Lifetime's tour in April. And while they were once planning to make their Montecito, California estate their main family home, the idea is now off the table and is being rented out, according to the source. Another insider previously noted to Us Weekly, the famous couple have grown apart and aren't living the same lives anymore. Despite being an item since 2016 and getting engaged in 2019, the two never set a wedding date, with the source revealing that Orlando was apparently over it. Now, recently, it was reported, as Steve had said, so Orlando was at Jeff Bezos' nuptials without Katy, and now just after the news of his split with Katy, he was spotted chatting with none other than Kim Kardashian. And pics spotted Kim and her sis Chloe getting the Pirates of the Caribbean actor in Venice. And Italy, noting that Orlando shared several air kisses with Kim.
Air kisses. That's the same as intercourse. So Kim Kardashian is single. Orlando Bloom is single.
Yeah.
Right? Katy Perry's had a bad luck run with entertainers. So Russell Brand was her first, right? Orlando Bloom. Maybe it's time to shift up and,
maybe a good idea.
Somebody from the civilian ranks.
Might work.
Or just don't get married.
So I tease this. Brad Pitt's Los Feliz Los Angeles home was recently broken into while he was out of town promoting his new F1 film. Law enforcement sources told NBC News that 3 people reportedly jumped a fence and got inside through a front window. An L.A. Police Department spokesperson confirmed the late-night burglary but didn't name Pitt directly or say what was taken, adding that they are still looking for the 3 suspects.
So just think about that. The fact that you can say, here he is, has a multi-million-dollar estate, that you can jump the fence and come in through the window. Don't you assume that there are some sort of proximity detectors or something that would go off an alarm of something? How does that happen? Unless, Preston, an inside job.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I'm sure he's got security cameras and things like that at the very least set up. But people can get in and out of a place in a few minutes.
Sure. Apparently, though, they were there for, at least I heard, for a while, it appeared like. So I don't know.
He did it in Ocean's 11, you know.
That's right.
That's
right.
You can always bust into somebody's vault.
Wouldn't that be a bitch if they used that movie to break into his house?
So the suspects are said to have ransacked the house and made off with an unspecified amount of miscellaneous property. So
speaking of that, Preston, I was watching this guy on a YouTube channel. He is an expert consultant for the casinos, and they were talking about Ocean's 11 and those movies. And the question was, do thefts of that level occur? And he said that there was one time where these thieves rented the whale suite in a hotel, brought in their own roulette wheels and stuff like that, brought in fake employees and cocktail waitresses. This is all done for one person, and robbed the guy of $60 million.
Wow.
What?
Yeah. So the guy went and thought it was another part of the casino, an extension that he was just simply coming to the
Super high roller
penthouse
suite,
and dropped a ton of cash, and the casino was not even associated with it.
That's interesting. Speaking of big heists, one member of the gang of thieves that was convicted last month in the Kim Kardashian jewelry heist won't have to serve out his sentence, but for an unfortunate reason. It was reported yesterday that Dieter Dubriquet passed away after battling lung cancer just a month after he was sentenced to 7 years in prison, with 5 suspended for his role in the 2016 case. He continued to maintain his innocence, saying that police had the wrong guy. He was 69 years old, so he's not going to jail.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's one way to get out of it.
So back to Brad Pitt for a moment. Director Joseph Kosinski is hoping to get Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt to reunite, suggesting that he'd like to see them go head-to-head on the racetrack in a movie. Kosinski has worked with Cruise on Top Gun Maverick and Pitt on the new racing movie F1, which I just mentioned a moment ago. If the two do get together on screen once again, it will be for the first time in 30 years, last appearing to get together in Interview with a Vampire. Pitt shared earlier this month that he'd be happy to team up with the Mission Impossible star, but only if they keep their feet firmly planted on the ground. He said, I'm not going to try and hang my ass off airplanes and stuff like that. Pitt joked at the F1 premiere, added that when he does something again that's on the ground, then yes, he'd like to do it.
Do you think there'd be any sort of latitude with the story if it involved vampire NASCAR drivers?
Ooh, okay.
That can only race
Only
at
race
night.
at night.
Uh-huh.
You can only have evening matches.
That's the only movie I've ever walked out of.
Interview with a Vampire.
Interview with a Vampire. I hated it. I don't know, maybe I saw it at the
kidding.
wrong time or whatever, but I saw it in the theaters and I was like, I am so bored. I can't stand any of this. Yeah, it did nothing for me. And I'm not a big vampire guy anyway, but yeah, that one was, I was like, nah, I'm out. I'm done.
I had been prepped and I was familiar and I did enjoy it. Yeah, but I can see where it would not be everybody's cup of tea.
All right, Lalo Schifrin, the composer who wrote the theme for Mission Impossible and more than 100 other arrangements for film and television, passed away on Thursday. He was 93 years old. He won 4 Grammy Awards and was nominated for 6 Oscars, including 5 for original score for Cool Hand Luke, The Fox, Voyage of the Damned, The Amityville Horror, and The Sting Part 2. He also wrote the grand finale music performance for the World Cup Championship in Italy in 1990, in which the 3 tenors sang together for the first time. And that work became one of the biggest sellers in the history of classical music. Schifrin, also a jazz pianist and classical conductor, had a remarkable career in music because he worked with people like Dizzy Gillespie and recorded with Count Basie and Sarah Vaughan. But perhaps his biggest contribution was this theme we're hearing right now from Mission Impossible. Written in the unusual 5/4 time signature, The theme was married to an on-screen self-destruct clock that kicked off the TV show, which ran from 1966 to 73. It was described as only the most contagious tune ever heard by mortal ears by New Yorker film critic Anthony Lane, and it even hit number 41 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1968.
So years ago, I had a cassette recorder that many years ago, and I recorded all my favorite TV themes. Mission Impossible. Do you remember the series Combat, Preston?
Yeah.
Hawaii Five-0, all the classics. And I mean, you had to have this.
So Lalo Schifrin, the composer, 93 years old, had a hell of a life.
Apparently, this is sad because he was in the middle of collaborating with Tone Loc. And,
man. That guy's good.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they got something.
Is Tone Loc still alive?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm thinking of Biz Markie. He passed away.
Yeah, moment of silence.
Yeah, please. So this was nice to see. Our buddy Bert Kreischer, Bertie Boy, is starring in a new comedy for Netflix. It's called Free Bert. And the series, set for 6 episodes so far, will star the comedian, but he's playing a fictionalized version of himself. Known as somewhat of a party animal, he'll be trying to tone things down this time around after his daughters get accepted into an elite private school in Beverly Hills. Arden Mirren will co-star as Bert's wife, with Ava Ryan and Lilu Lang playing their daughters.
I can tell you this. I mean, you and I saw the Machine. The movie. He can act.
He can
He's
act,
actually
man.
really good.
Yep.
He's actually even, he can do the emotional stuff. So I would love to see that muted version of him try something like this.
Listen, after watching The Machine, I was like, I need to see more of him doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So Bert is no stranger to Netflix. He's had 5 stand-up comedy specials, including this year's Lucky. He even praised the streamer back in February while speaking with Variety, sharing that they're a great place to release stuff because they're so hands-off, he says. So we hope he's going to have a good run with that, and hopefully we'll talk to him very soon about what's going on in that realm.
We can work on our episode with him, Preston, at that time.
Yeah. All right, and then one last story. On most seasons of The Bachelor and its spinoffs, you learn what the Bachelor or Bachelorette are looking for in a partner as the season progresses. You won't have to wait that long with the upcoming season of The Golden Bachelor. He's telling everyone up front. So Mel Owens, the next Golden Bachelor, is plain about what he's not looking for. The 66-year-old former NFL player explains that while going through the casting process, producers asked him, "What's your preference?" And he said, 45 to 60, just being honest. And he adds that once he was cast, he was having lunch with an executive producer on the show and told him, if they're 60 or over, I'm cutting them. He said, this is not the Silver Bachelor, this is the Golden Bachelor. And he also specified they've got to be fit because I stay in shape and work out and stuff. And I told them to try to stay away from the artificial hips and the wigs.
No fatties.
Yeah, no fatties,
Yeah,
please.
and they got to give oral on the first date.
Yep.
I mean, that's what's so hilarious about that. This whole thing. I told you the first round of the Golden Bachelor. I was watching it and go, wow, man, you got people now who know what they want in life. There's going to be less of the BS, and it just degenerated into exactly the same thing.
Yeah, the same thing, right?
Same thing.
So this should go well. The Golden Bachelor is expected to premiere this fall, so we'll find out.
And then there's that It's Always Sunny tie-in.
Yep.
Yeah, which should be really good as well.
Yep. All right, so we got some movies opening this weekend. F1. F you. The movie starring, it's an action drama, stars Brad Pitt, Carrie Condon, and Javier Bardem. It's dubbed the greatest that never was, or he is dubbed the greatest that never was. Sonny Hayes was Formula One's most promising phenom of the 1990s until an accident on the track nearly ended his career. 30 years later, he's a nomadic racer for hire when he's approached by his former teammate Ruben Cervantes, owner of a struggling Formula One team that's on the verge of collapse. Ruben convinces Sonny to come back to Formula One for one last shot at saving the team and being the best in the world. 2 hours and 35 minutes long. PG-13 release, wide theater release as well. Rotten Tomato score scores well at 84%.
So Craig Legans, our friend, saw it and said it's the greatest racing movie he ever saw.
Okay.
There used to be movies like this, Preston. You remember the movie Le Mans and Grand Prix, and they had, but this is the same guy who captured the dogfighting, the director of Maverick.
Yeah.
So he knows how to deal with things in motion.
Here's what I don't like about it, Steve. I thought this was going to be free on Apple Plus. Why did they make me think that this was an Apple Plus movie, and then all of a sudden now it's...
There's too much money behind this sucker, yeah.
So now,
but do you mean the way they were promoting it?
the way they were promoting it on Apple Plus, I was like, okay, and Apple does good movies.
So here's the thing: people are saying is that if you have to see it in the 4D, in the IMAX, like it's a very immersive experience.
Press, would you do that? Smell the burning rubber and all?
I've been there, man.
Nostalgic.
I've been there. All right, Megan 2.0, horror, mystery, thriller, sci-fi, action, comedy. Stars Allison Williams, Violet McGraw, and Jen Van Epps. 2 years after Megan, a marvel of artificial intelligence, went rogue and embarked on a murderous rampage and was subsequently destroyed, Megan's creator, Gemma, has become a high-profile author and advocate for government oversight of AI. Meanwhile, Gemma's niece, Katie, now 14, has become a teenager, rebelling against Gemma's overprotective rules. Unbeknownst to them, the underlying tech for Megan has been stolen and misused by a powerful defense contractor to create a military-grade weapon known as Amelia. It's an hour and 59 minutes long. It's rated PG-13. Wide theater release from Rotten Tomatoes score gives it 59%.
So they're saying the first one was horror. This is more like an action movie.
Okay.
This is not you.
Whoa, sorry, I hit the
No,
wrong button.
there's a lot of comedy in it as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready to roll some clips. Here we go. On this season of The Gilded Age, Agnes dislikes the change in power dynamics within her family. And here, Christina Baranski shares how her character feels about not being number one.
Agnes is not used to not being the boss, and that's her identity. That's who she is. She's the big sister, and she made the tough choices, and she had to get married and then take her sister in and be the caretaker.
New episode of Gilded Age will air on Sunday on Max. Here's our next clip. Riri Williams and her suit that rivals Tony Stark's make their small screen debut with the series Ironheart. In this clip, Dominique Thorne talks about playing a gifted inventor.
This is someone who's starting with a very different and varied set of cards to begin with. And of course, with a little genius intellect to never hurt. But out of those cards, she's really creating or looking to create a beautiful legacy for herself and for the people that matter most to her.
The first 3 episodes of Ironheart are streaming now, and you can see that on Disney Plus, by the way. All right, your entertainment report for today, Friday, leading into a No Sad Bro weekend. So we're going to take a quick break. We've got our buddy Billy Gardell stopping by this morning. We'll dive into the Connoisseur and stuff like that, and we got things to give away and stuff to talk about. So stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
Preston and Steve.
Coming up a little later on this morning, we are going to talk to Jeopardy champion, current champion, Ryan Long, who's from the area.
Doing Philly proud?
Yep, he's from Mount Airy, so born in Philly and moved to Bensalem at the age of 9. We know a little bit about him, but we're going to find out more when we talk to him around 9 o'clock.
Oh, he's from Bucks County. He's so smart.
He's so smart,
Yeah, I
so
figured.
intelligent. So
He's not from Bucks County. He's from Philadelphia.
But he moved there at
I don't like how
9
you're
where he
not
got
from
his
Bucks County.
education.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have this
Well, have
little
him tell
debate
us.
with
Yeah.
him later on this morning. But in the meantime, I saw this article. I thought it was very interesting, and it was essentially a forum. People had shared their stories of rules that were put in place because of them.
Oh, okay. I like
So
this.
You did something, and whatever you did from there on, there was a rule. This is, you can't do that anymore. And I was picking my brain, and I know it's had to have happened to me. I know I've done something before with
You've
this.
caused a rule to be implemented.
I'm sure. Somewhere in school, but I can't remember what. But I
kind of think you probably did, but
maybe something will come to me. But I have some examples, and I would love to hear your stories if you had a similar incident take place. So I'll start with this one, where a person wrote in and said, my brother and I got into a cattle prod sword fight at a farm store. We shocked the hell out of each other a few times, and now they have the cattle prods locked up. We were in our 30s when this happened.
Oh my God.
So they made a rule at the store that you could no longer take out the cattle prods. Another one says, I put a croissant in one of those hotel conveyor toasters, and it soon became engulfed in flames and had to be extinguished. The next day at breakfast, there was a sign that said, if you'd like your croissant toasted, please ask a staff member. So they put up a rule after that. Here's one, definitely that had some lasting power to it, I'm sure. This says, as a kindergartner, I once fell asleep in the bus. I was on the bus, and when I woke up, the bus was in the garage.
It's happened.
I had to yell to get to someone to get me out. So to this day, every bus driver in my school district needs to walk to the back of the bus and check every seat before they park the bus.
This has been in the news a few times where they've had kids and the bus driver failed to do that. And there was a kid sleeping in the back seat.
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard, though.
Yeah.
For bus
So
drivers.
this-
They're supposed to anyway.
This probably happened a long time ago.
right.
They made that rule. Here's another one. It says, in my high school history class, there were about 10 of us who were really close friends. And we take every opportunity to make your mom jokes. And a couple of months into class, the teacher made us sign a treaty promising to stop making fun of each other's moms. We signed
That's
it,
funny.
and then we started making fun of each other's dads right after that. I like this one a lot, too. It says, a friend of mine in a military school found out the regulations never stated what color the bed sheets for a bed made for inspection had to be in. So this man went and bought Power Ranger sheets and made the perfect regulation bed. And I've never seen so many sergeants lose their cool but be unable to actually do anything since the regs were perfectly followed.
That's great.
Needless to say, the next year's regulations were updated to state that sheets must be plain white. So they absolutely changed the rule altogether at a military school. Let me go to Kenny. Hey, Kenny, good morning.
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road.
Well done. Kenny, what's going on, man?
Hey, good morning, guys. So I used to work at Tower Records, open until midnight. And we were basically allowed to play any tunes we wanted on the stereo. And I was a practical joker, and I decided that Animal by Wasp was a great idea.
All right.
To play through the entire store. And if you know the song, it's not a good idea. So the manager was right there, came out screaming, and he said, now here's a short stack of CDs you guys can only listen to. And no, nothing good there.
So he took this broad policy and you caused it to be refined down to a selection of sort of neutral music.
Yeah, a lot of Steely Dan in there.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not Wasp.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Thanks,
hilarious.
Kenny. Yep. Rule changed because of you. Let me go. You guys will know this one. Let me go to Stoney. Hi, Stoney. Good morning.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Wow. You sound like you hurt yourself on that one, Stoney. What's up, bud?
Yo, what's up, man? You guys know me. I'm the sled builder. I'm the one that almost killed Pierre.
Yes, from the Cardboard Classic.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
And because of that, you guys don't allow us to use fireworks. Not allowed to ride on the second floor.
Right.
Yeah, I also built the big wheel, or a buddy of mine built it. We're not allowed to roll down a hill anymore.
That's right.
You are the reason
Dude, that was
for
great.
a lot of roles.
Had to do a lot of refinements. And if you ask, is it a good idea? Just ask Mr. Peanut.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so Stoney was the cause of rules being changed at the Cardboard Classic. Multiple rules being changed.
Multiple rules.
Yeah. Nice job, Stoney.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, bud. We'll see you next
Thank
year.
you. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
I have one that's slightly embarrassing, and Steve, you'll have a field day with it. I had a job when I was pretty poor. When I was 21 years old, my job was to drive around enterprise cars, and I didn't have any money. And so there was a Mercedes dealership where I would drop off cars and pick up cars. And at that Mercedes dealership, they would offer up free breakfast for their customers. But I was also hungry in the morning, and so I would avail myself to the bagels and the coffee that they had out for their paying customers. And
where did the food go?
Well, I didn't take all of the food. I just took enough for me. No, not a lot. Shut up. Just a little bit every morning. But they eventually had to put up a sign that said bagels and coffee for Mercedes customers only. And I was like,
it didn't say Dear Nick.
That was that's for me. All right.
Well, here's a similar story to that. This says, I worked concessions at a ballpark that had an all-you-can-eat promo day where tickets were more expensive than usual, but concessions, excluding alcohol around the stadium, were free. So I worked that day, and of course it was chaos. And when the line started dying down later in the game, they started sending home some of the hourly employees, myself included. But I didn't go home. After I clocked out, I stayed in the stadium. Got some cheeseburgers, cheesesteaks, and a soda, then found an empty seat in the crowd for the last few innings. The next year, they had the same promo. New rule for staff. If you get sent home early, you actually have to leave the stadium. So it's similar to you, Nick.
But I understand his point.
Let me go to Steven. Hi, Steven. Good morning.
Chicken pot, chicken pot, chicken pot pie.
Thank you for the serenade. What's up, man?
So when I was a kid, me and my family used to belong to the Warminster Swim Club, and all the township folks used to cut through the swim club to get to their maintenance building quicker. So when I was 14, I was riding my bike through the swim club, and I got nailed by a van. Township supervisor was driving through.
And so then after that, what happened?
No more cutting through the parking lot.
No more cutting through the parking lot.
Well, you can understand that, clearly,
Yes.
since you almost died.
Yeah, you took one for the team, for the walkers
Damn
and
it.
bike riders. Thank you, Steven. Appreciate it. Let's go to Will. Hey, Will, good morning.
Good morning. Sorry to bother you guys at work.
Nah, what's up, man?
So back in the ancient times of the mid 1990s, teachers had copy cards for their copiers at school, and they would sometimes send a couple students to go make copies for them. Well, I was one of the responsible ones, and they sent myself and one of my friends to go make copies. Well, one of my friends takes the copy card and decides to copy a magazine from his father's collection and send pictures around the entire school. And so after that, teachers were never allowed to give copy cards again to their students.
Wow.
Of course.
They killed it.
Because you were working now in the porn industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you can understand. Yeah.
Good times. Good
Thanks,
times.
Will.
I love those
Appreciate
last second scrambles because I didn't realize that we had not a common like the Power Ranger bed sheets.
Right.
We should have specified.
Here's another example. It says in middle school, I would use Sharpie, permanent markers to, quote, tattoo myself. Other kids thought that it was cool, so I started charging $1 per drawing wherever they wanted. The principal found out, and after I refused to stop, she put a ban on Sharpies for the entire school. Even the teachers could not bring them in. And then this person writes, I'm a tattoo artist now.
Oh, my God. That's
Ended up
funny.
making a career out of it. I will go to Holly. Good morning to you, Holly.
Good morning.
What's up,
Sorry
Holly?
to bother your work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was in middle school. I think I was like 12 or 13, and I decided I wanted Domino's pizza, so I ordered one, had it delivered to the cafeteria. Apparently, they never had a rule about that, but there was one after that.
You're like Spicoli. You got pizza delivered to school.
Yeah.
I did, Domino's, but I had to share it.
And so did they talk to you about it, or did they just issue a statement that said no more of this?
Well, they did. I had a principal that actually I loved. We got along great, and he had to vice principal, and he had to pull me aside and talk to me, and he said, "This is not like you, Holly. I can't believe you did this, but good one."
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
That was that bad. You ordered a pizza. That's all.
Yeah. But they made a rule after that. So, all right, thanks. Here's a text that says,
You gotta buy a crappy pizza.
Says, according to my husband, a 2-beer at a time limit was installed and stated at the... Thank you very much, Nick. Now, listen, I only say this because I had a massive flub yesterday with Go. But I hope they open that Tacony Palmyra Bridge very, very soon.
I said Bridge?
You said Bridge. Yes.
All right. Well, don't go through if you don't have to.
By the way, I've actually woken up in like a cold sweat at the notion of ever having to do traffic. Right? It is a nightmare. Yeah.
Ain't fun at all. All right, so before we head into our weekend, which we're very much looking forward to, I don't think I had a chance to do this last week, so I got a lot of stuff in my junk drawer. So let's do it.
Junk drawer. Preston's cleaning out his junk drawer. Getting things out of his junk drawer. Finding stuff here in the junk drawer.
All righty. So some things to talk about. Let me see what I can find in here. I'm going to start with something at the Phillies game. Wawa Welcome America. Obviously, the big celebrations are happening. Started with Wawa Hoagie Day yesterday, which hopefully that went well. We were busy, so we didn't get a chance to experience it because we were at Hershey Park. But the skies over Philadelphia will come alive with a vibrant Superman-themed drone show, and it's in partnership with the movie coming out. So Warner Brothers Pictures, Welcome America are...
Didn't this already happen?
It says July 11th.
Oh, okay.
That's when the movie opens.
Yeah. Yeah,
Never
I
mind.
thought it was last Sunday.
Let me go back
they
in the
did
junk
it.
drawer.
Oh, man. Sorry about
I'll tell you one thing, though.
No, it's my fault.
Warner Brothers is throwing an F-load of money into promoting this movie, which I'm very excited for. I love James Gunn, and the cast is great. But, I mean, I haven't seen a rollout of this level in quite a while.
All right, so let me go back in the junk drawer.
You want to actually stand in it?
Nope, there we go. I got something. I'm going to talk about the Willy Wonka of cheese. Ever heard of the Willy Wonka of cheese?
It would have been a much more terrible kids movie if it all...
Yeah.
Yeah, the Gouda man can...
One of Colorado's most influential businessmen has died. James Jim Leprino, the chairman of Leprino, died on Thursday. He was born in 1937 in Denver, which would make him 88 years old, and he spent his childhood with a tightly knit family rooted in Denver's Italian community. And he was called a devoted family man in a notification of his death that was shared by the company that he chaired. So in an interview in 2017, the then 79-year-old billionaire spoke about how his family's grocery store in Little Italy was transformed into the world's largest producer of mozzarella cheese.
Wow.
Yes. And that's also where he earned the nickname of the Willy Wonka of cheese. Forbes estimates that Leprino's net worth was at about $2.1 billion, but other publications have said that he could be worth upward of $3 billion. It's funny when we throw out these numbers.
I know.
Now, like $3 billion. We've heard of Jeff Bezos and hundreds of billions of dollars that I think we now brush off you've only got $2 or $3 billion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're exactly right. Someone broke down in terms of time. So if you have a certain amount of $1 billion, and I wish I had it right in front of me, it was fascinating to even draw a distinction between a billion and a trillion.
Yeah.
So
oh my God.
The billion get you back, I'm probably misstating this, but this is the gist of what they said, get you back to maybe 1920. A trillion gets you back to 30 BC.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, I mean, it's an astonishing difference.
I like the visual representation of $1 million in hundreds stacked in a vault versus $1 billion stacked on $100 bills. And like you see the exponential difference between the two.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're like, you can put $1 million in like a suitcase.
Right.
And $1 billion needed like part of a warehouse or something along those lines. I saw a guy do it with grains of rice one time.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was like, this is how much the average American has. And then he goes on and he compares it to what people like Bezos and Musk have. And it's, it's a gigantic, huge pile of rice. And you can't, it puts it into perspective.
It's virtually incomprehensible.
So this guy started his store. Actually, his father did, who immigrated to the U.S. from Italy in 1950. Opened a grocery store at the corner of 38th and Shoshone Street in Denver.
We need some Oompa Loompas.
The family sold its handmade ricotta and scamorza cheese. In 1956, Leprino joined the business full-time. He was able to build the business up to where it is now. Not just the world's biggest mozzarella producer, but also a global leader of dairy ingredients. His mozzarella is used on, here's where most of the money comes from. It's used on Pizza Hut, Domino's, and Papa John's pizza.
He scored all the big clients.
Yep.
Does he have a magical factory, or did he have a magical factory?
He employs over 600 people in Denver, so maybe some of those are Oompa Loompas. I don't really know. But in a release, Leprino's company said that he was known for his unwavering commitment to the people of Leprino, always ready to offer guidance, support, and mentorship. So, yeah, just a massive cheese guy.
What a
mainly mozzarella.
score, though, to get those clients if you're making mozzarella.
Yep.
Hey, real quick, just going back to the thing you were talking about, Steve, 1 million seconds, that's 11 and a half days. 1 billion seconds, 31.7 years.
Wow.
Okay, do they have trillion?
Not in this chart.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
I mean, but they put that in perspective.
31,000 years
31,000 years.
is a trillion seconds, yeah.
Come on.
Yep. All right, let me go back into the junk drawer. Oh, yeah, got to share this one with you. So, a group, the Kawasaki Corleo group, has come up with a concept of a new robot. And it has the combined attributes of a horse, a mountain lion, a motorcycle as well.
I've seen, I don't know if this is their AI rendering of what it will look like or if they actually have functioning demo models, but this is, this is another level of stuff to be terrified by.
No, they do not have functioning concepts of this yet. It's just all AI renderings. But it'll if you see a video of it, Case, it'll blow you away. So one day, deep in the R&D department, somebody dared to ask, what if we put legs on an all-terrain vehicle? So working outside of their comfort zone, engineers created Corleo. The resulting vehicle incorporates the company's vision of mobility in 2050, where instinct, technology, and the natural environment move in sync, or at least that's what the Kawasaki heavy industry says. So it was unveiled recently at Expo 2025 in Osaka, Japan. The Corleo is a revolutionary off-road personal mobility vehicle, a rideable robot propelled by 4 legs and powered by an engine fueled with hydrogen. Well, they did actually unveil the real-life concept. It was the brand's computer-generated video that has generated intense interest online. So I guess they have a concept of it, Steve, a physical, but it doesn't move or anything, making the Corleo look like a cool ride. The imagery portrays a rideable 4-legged robot that comes across as an advanced version of Boston Dynamics Spot, the dog-like robot mixed up, which we've seen on many occasions, but it's mixed with kind of like a land speeder from the Star Wars universe. So the CGI video shows the Corleo galloping through a thick forest, frolicking across a field, leaping across small gorges, and trotting across a snowy outcrop and landscape mimicking scenes from Lord of the Rings. It is insane looking, this thing that they have.
It looks like a mix also with like a Kawasaki motorcycle.
Yes.
Has the same sort of thing. But if you're talking about all-terrain, this gets it done.
Yeah, like all terrain.
All terrain.
I mean, it can go, through boulders and things like that as well.
Jumping ravines.
Kawasaki says that the Corleo mimics the responsive feel of an ATV or a motorcycle, but instead of using wheels, employs independently articulating legs with swing arms that absorb impact and shocks and adapt to uneven terrain. Each leg is fitted with a hoof made from slip-resistant rubber, split left to right to adapt to different surfaces like grass, gravel, and rock.
Yeah.
The 4-legged construction maintains balance and stability as it keeps the rider's body in an upright, forward-looking posture even when climbing steps.
In case it does, it grabs huge piles of batteries. It's really wild.
Corleo employs some clever design ideas, including independent legs, hydrogen engine, and steering through weight shifts using sensors in the stirrups and handlebars. The rear leg unit can swing up and down independently from the front leg unit, allowing it to absorb shocks during walking and running.
Dude, how long before they mount machine guns on the side of this thing?
The 150cc hydrogen engine produces electricity to propel the leg-mounted drive units with rear-mounted hydrogen canisters supplying fuel to deliver low emissions in silent operation. And an onboard GPS navigation screen guides riders by mapping a path up or down a hill, while also ensuring the rider's center of gravity and hydrogen fuel levels.
Still, it's that giant ball thing that I like better. It's a concept right now, but it is just they look like giant medicine balls
instead of tires.
Right. Yeah,
and they go in every direction.
Motorcycle-looking, vehicle, and yes, you can move in any direction you want to. So maybe they'll create that too.
It's all interesting. We have to see a working model of it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let me go back in. All right, I thought this was some good news worth sharing. So the extra fee at a grocery store for plastic shopping bags isn't just an inconvenience. It's actually starting to make a difference for marine ecosystems, according to a new study. Policies that ban or impose fees on plastic bags are associated with a 25 to 47% decrease in plastic bag litter in shoreline cleanups, according to a study that was published this past Thursday in the Journal of Science. So that's great news.
Yeah, man, that's, I think everyone can agree on that. It just sucks when you see that stuff washing, or like in a river or something. And then, they have those big plastic islands basically floating in the oceans. It's all this stuff.
Well, listen, I hate seeing it anywhere, in the, that stretch of land in between like highways, like you're going up the Blue Route and you just
median.
look over the median. That's what those things are called. But you see that, and I just get so mad, right? Like, listen, if something accidentally flies out your window, okay, I can understand that. But if you are an adult human being listening to this right now, and you throw trash out your car window, you are scum.
Listen, I'm part Indian.
Do it. Yeah.
I'm part Indian, and it always makes me cry when that happens. I'll tell you this. The other day, I was out in front of my house. I'm there. I'm pouring oil down the sewer, and this guy throws this garbage.
What's he doing
I'm
that
like,
for?
come on.
I'm throwing my oil here, bro.
Plastic litter is
Get rid of oil.
big risk to health of marine ecosystems, and the problem is growing, according to the lead study author, Dr. Anna Papp. The United States has no federal level policy on plastic bags, so researchers analyzed 180 local programs, including full bans, fees on shopping bags, and partial bans, which sometimes have special regulations such as requiring thicker plastics to make shopping bags reusable. Researchers then analyzed data from more than 45,000 U.S. shoreline cleanups to compare litter before and after the policy was passed, as well as the differences between the areas with and without policy. And the main finding, according to the study author, is that these policies led to a decrease in plastic bags as a share of total items collected. So it seems to be working,
All right.
which is great.
The only problem now is I have so many reusable shopping bags. And we go to the Acme in Wildwood, and so they don't do plastic shopping bags in New Jersey. And every time I go there, I'm like, damn it, I forgot to bring shopping bags with me.
Another one?
So I buy another one.
Claire has 3 huge bags full of bags in her trunk.
Yes.
And she's good with using them. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I will end up, though, they do make them, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I like the Acme super big black bag that just says Acme in red on the side.
Yeah.
That effer holds a lot.
So I have some that are made out of, Casey, they're made out of a cloth product of some type.
Yeah.
And the problem with the bags are keeping them like laying around in the backseat of your car and stuff like that. So these actually have a little pouch and they fold up into it, and it's only about the size of your hand, your palm. So those I actually keep in the center console in my car. I keep 2 of them in there.
Small
They're
enough?
really small. Yeah. They like I said, Steve, literally like this big, like in the palm of your hand. That's
okay.
big. That's
Maybe
it.
I'll look into that.
So those are really, really convenient.
Yeah.
And if you always keep one like in your glove compartment
I
or whatever,
should do that.
you'll have it, and you'll be good to go, and you won't be stuck with all those bags.
So for the longest time, I was bringing like an ocean liner steamer trunk with me, and it's wonky.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of noise.
Very cumbersome.
So I thought that was cool. I've heard people. I've been at the store specifically in New Jersey. If you're visiting from out of state and you don't know, or you just forget, and you're like, oh, damn it. But I've heard people complain about this isn't really, what are they doing this for? And I'm like,
We're trying.
You're doing every bit you can. You're going to be fine, bud. Easy there, Skippy. Let's move on. All right, so that was a good story. This one's kind of messed up. The head of Amazon says that AI will shrink its workforce in the coming years.
All right.
CEO Andy Jassy sent a memo to employees saying the increase.
Numbers 1 for 1,000. You are scheduled to be liquidated.
The increasing use of artificial intelligence will eliminate the need for certain jobs.
Yeah, we knew that was coming.
Jassy
Well,
wrote
horses are even being replaced.
that Amazon employees should learn how to use AI tools and figure out how to get more done with, quote, scrappier teams.
No. You use the AI to learn how to take out your bosses.
Jassy added, it's hard to know exactly where this nets out over time, but in the next few years, we expect that this will reduce our total corporate workforce.
You guys see the piece on John Oliver last weekend? AI slop is what it's called. So it's AI generated stuff, and it just ends up all over the place. And the recent example was, people showing up as babies. You have cast of The Sopranos.
Yes.
Or the cast, so these things are generated, and what AI can do is remarkable. And I do believe it can be a helpful tool occasionally. But what it can also do is a bit terrifying to me daily. And look, I mean, there are people in our industry who are being replaced by AI. It's a threat, and I think it's a real threat, and we got to be careful about it.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, and look, you see it as a corporate owner, or someone who's in charge. Like, okay, if we don't have to pay all these people, we will make more profits and more money will come in, and it's like they're biting off their own, they're cutting off their own hand.
If all a company knows how to do is cut and reduce costs, and that's all they look to do, then they're going to use AI to replace people.
True, there are shifts like this that happen throughout history. But you slowing the roll wouldn't be a bad idea.
I'd like to see a commercial campaign where they replace people with AI, but they use Allen Iverson and get replaced by AI.
Yeah,
that would be fun. I don't know what product that would work for.
Mostly basketball oriented.
Yeah, probably.
I think so.
Maybe sneakers.
Yeah.
They're going to eliminate certain jobs in the near future. They will be they're going to be cutting way back. I mean, that's just scary.
We all have children that are just graduated high school and like now they're pursuing their next level of education, and you have to take that sort of stuff into consideration. Like, okay, are you majoring in something that is going to be obsolete in 20 years?
Totally.
I don't, so I'm turning myself over to completely.
Ooh,
yeah. I'm jumping right in.
No, but it's scary. I mean, I've got kids that I have to think about their career.
Yep.
And are they going to, is what they want to pursue going to be something that's not even done by a human being down the road?
Yep.
It's terrifying, actually. All right, here's another terrifying thing. The invasive Asian needle ant.
Needle ant?
Appears to have spread as far north as Massachusetts, bringing with it concerns over their painful and potentially dangerous sting. According to Scientific American, the ants have been identified in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, having spread east across the United States.
If we could get them to procreate with the insulin ant, we could take care of some medication issues.
The sting of an Asian needle ant may cause severe allergic reaction or anaphylaxis in about 2% of people.
That's not good.
And in most cases, the sting causes intense pain that can come and go over the course of several hours. Redness of the skin and mild to severe hives, and also possible symptoms according to the service.
Have you ever been bitten by a fire ant or a red ant or
bullet ants?
Bullet ants. They're supposedly very painful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my ex-wife stepped on a bullet anthill.
Oh, man.
We went to Costa Rica on our honeymoon 21 years ago, and man, they started crawling up her left leg, and she didn't even realize what had happened at first, and then it was like her left leg was on fire. It was awful, and the only thing that you can do, like you can put like a salve on it or whatever, but you have to deal with the pain. It's like getting stung by a bee. It's just terrible.
My default, Nick, anytime that happens, is I just piss on the wound.
Right?
Sometimes it's nothing.
Sure.
like the most innocuous thing, and I'm ready to piss on it.
Yeah.
So if you suspect that you're having a systemic allergic reaction, anaphylaxis, from an Asian needle ant sting, seek immediate medical attention, as it could be life-threatening, it says in this article.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
because I'm thinking about like minor annoyances and minor pains. When was the last time you stubbed your toe?
Like 2 days ago.
Like on concrete? Were you?
On concrete. I was getting out of the pool.
On Kong?
Oh, the pools. Oh, yeah. That's a common one.
Okay, because it's been a little while since I've stubbed my toe. And now that I say that, I'll probably do it this weekend.
The clock is ticking.
I'm like, oh, God, I made this happen.
It's been a little bit since I've had a car accident.
And why do you ask that?
When Steve was saying he's peeing on stuff, I was like, in my mind, I was like, you stub your toe.
I would like Steve to pee on my toe. It's one of those common things that you're like, I always feel you got to get it out of the way. Once you do it, though, you're in the pain, but you realize, okay, the clock is reset. Mm-hmm. It'll now be a certain amount of time before I stub my toe again.
So the ant's presence is being tracked by antmaps.org, which shows that the
That's where I
insect
work.
has been found in as many as 20 U.S. states. While the ants are mainly stretching from Arkansas to New England, outliers have also been discovered in Washington state. They are small. They measure about 0.2 inches in length. Their bodies are shiny with a dark brown to black color, though the ends of their antenna and their legs are a light orange brown, and they can be hard to identify as they resemble other common ant species in the eastern United States. They're native to China, Japan, and North and South Korea, though they were first documented in the southeastern U.S. in 1932.
Wow.
In 2021, the Forest Service announced that the invasive ant was becoming problematic in North America and remaining relatively unnoticed for decades. So, they can cause quite a bit of pain. So heads up on
There's
that.
a lot of, excuse me, chiggers are.
Yeah, Casey had some bites on him the other day.
They can bite as well.
And I looked at him and I goes, those look like what we used to call when I was a kid, chigger bites. And they're actually, and the reason being is because they were around his wrist and around his ankles.
Like my watch.
Yeah, and when I would get chigger bites as a kid, they would usually be around my ankles. And it has to do, we looked it up, they're actually a form of mites. They're very, 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 very small, like really, really hard to see. And they go into those areas that are kind of covered, like by socks. And
Right.
this was under Casey's watch.
Yeah, and then the other one was down by my foot, essentially right where my sock line is.
Yeah, so I was wondering
Maybe
if
that's what it was. I don't know.
And
do they itch? Because these were
yes,
itching like crazy.
Very much so.
Okay.
Yep, so that may have been what you came across.
But man, do I love scratching that stuff. Like a mosquito bite.
I want a stub toe and I want chigger bites.
No, it's wild. Like a mosquito bite or something that itches. That scratch just feels so good.
It does feel good.
Yeah.
What is problematic is that if you are like coming out of the shower or something's a little itchy and your skin is moist, you can over scratch.
Yeah.
I've had it happen, brother.
I hate having to scratch.
I know, but it's kind of like sneezes. You know, like sneezes are so annoying, but they also feel good. You know.
Well, you get some relief.
You know.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Right? Is that ready?
Ready?
You with me?
Am I the only one here who thinks that?
Okay. All right, let's go back into the junk drawer.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
You sure about that?
I am absolutely, unequivocally positive that I want to move on from that.
All right.
Oh, look, there are chiggers in there, Preston.
So, do you guys ever click the unsubscribe buttons?
All the time.
Dude, I'm doing it now. With all these colleges that like Seamus was interested in, I'm still getting emails from, I'm like, unsubscribe.
I don't really. A lot of times I've heard that it does nothing.
Oh, no, it works. I've done it. But Steve, you have to stay on it.
Yeah.
Also, just real quick, how many emails do you have in your inbox right now?
Oh, I can tell you right now.
Okay, so I like to weed mine down, and getting rid of them and getting rid of the unsolicited ones is a good way to do that. I try to go at the end of every week and have 0 emails in my inbox.
293,324.
Yeah, I would
Good
shoot
God.
myself in the face.
Wow. No, from my work email account is loaded with stuff, but my personal email account I try to keep trimmed all the way down.
Well,
All the
I
way
just
down.
got an invitation to Chigger Fest. So, yeah.
Chigger Fest. All right, so if you click on the unsubscribe link, sometimes it may be doing the exact opposite of what you hope for.
Great.
According to TK Kianani, CEO of cybersecurity software seller DNS Filler, instead of adding users to the Do Not Send register, the links could, on occasion, instead send them to a mock landing page or give scammers the exact confirmation they were looking for, allowing them to pick out better potential victims.
Yeah, that's
That
what
is
I'd
if
heard.
somebody is scamming you.
Right.
If it's legit, it should unsubscribe you. At least one in every 644 click here to unsubscribe links led to potentially malicious websites.
The trick is finding out what is legit to quit.
Well, some are too legit to quit. While some may be looking for people to input personal information, such as an email address or other account details, under the guise of unsubscribing, others are simply testing to see if you are paying attention.
Right.
Like with spam callers who repeatedly call but leave no message or follow-up, some of these links serve the purpose of simply telling the person on the other end that you have received, looked at, and clicked on items within their messages. An individual's initial click may not lead to imminent doom, but it can identify them as a potential future target. So they recommend you do this instead. Most email service providers and platforms have built-in unsubscribe features that does not require interacting with any shady links. The easiest and most common are the list unsubscribe headers and the banner with a hyperlink from your mail provider that is usually positioned in or right above or below the email's header. And you can clicking through this should allow you to unsubscribe from repeat emails without going to an external website.
Sometimes I'll get back at them, Preston, by sending back banking information of mine that they didn't even ask for.
Yeah.
You got them.
That'll get them. There was one I was having trouble with for a while, and it was I've forgotten which company it was, but it was for ordering flowers. And they kept sending me, spam, essentially. And so I would click on the unsubscribe. It did it several times. And then they kept coming. So then I'd followed up with seeking out sending emails to, people on their list.
How did that go?
I got to the point I kept doing it over. And then eventually, I wrote, stop sending me effing emails, you effing idiots. I was dropping F-bombs left and right. I had it. And I think they quit sending them to me. I don't know.
We see you're enjoying our service.
God, it was driving me.
Yeah. It is the conundrum.
I get text messages every day, people wanting to buy my house.
Yeah.
And like
those messages are coming from within your house.
Oh no!
You get the recruiting you for a job texts. I've been getting those a lot lately.
Yep, me too.
They're obnoxious. I don't know where they got. I'm Steve. I'm sure like at some point I hit the unsubscribe button somewhere, and that sent my number to the hey, we're going to recruit this dude to work for a marketing firm.
I'll give you a little clue though. If you get because I get the calls about that as well, about selling the house.
Yeah.
And when you'll get the message that you answer the phone and there's a pause and then you'll hear boop. And when you hear that boop, that means it's a big bank of phones, and they're just waiting for one to light up and hang up immediately.
Yep.
But not before you give them your PIN number.
All right, we have one more junk drawer item that we can dig out. You guys ever heard of an anomaly? I was not familiar with this. It's called the birthday effect. You ever heard of that before?
No.
Okay.
Is that like a Dizzy Gillespie?
Nope. The birthday effect is a statistical phenomenon in which a person's likelihood of dying is higher on or around their birthday.
My dad died the day before his birthday.
Okay.
My former mother-in-law died on her birthday.
So
I was born on my birthday.
What?
Yeah.
This somewhat gloomy discovery has been validated by various studies, such as the 2012 Swiss study, which identified a 13.8% rise in the number of people aged 60 and older who meet their end on their actual birthdays compared to other days.
There are a lot of holes in that Swiss theory.
Is it because you just want to make it to your birthday? Like,
yeah,
so there's a couple things. So similarly, a 2015 study in the U.S. found that on average, the risk of dying on your birthday is 6.7% higher. So why does this happen? There's a few theories. Firstly, birthdays often lead to over-the-top celebrations with excessive consumption of alcohol. And this can increase risky behavior and poor decision-making, which can result in more accidents and drunk driving incidents. For some individuals grappling with terminal illnesses, the birthday serves as a significant milestone to aim for. One theory is that they're able to muster the strength to make it to one more candle on the cake before letting go.
I guess that's your theory.
Birthdays can also trigger introspection and sometimes lead to birthday blues, characterized by sadness or depression. And these feelings often stem from unmet expectations, reflections on aging, loneliness, and stress.
Last year on July 3rd, I was so sad.
Why?
I don't know, man. And at one point,
you hadn't stubbed your toe in a while.
I hadn't stubbed my toe in a while, but I'm sitting on the couch next to my son, and something had come up about my old dog. And I had realized that I had gotten him on July 3rd. And so that was the anniversary. And so I say something to him. I'm like, yes. And I just started crying. I was like, dude, what the hell's going on with me? Dude. So I'm telling you,
Dad. You can be a pussy.
My 49th year was the lowest of my entire life. And it started at the end of my 48th year. I don't know what it was, but I had some.
Last year was your worst year in existence, you think?
It was my saddest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I knew. Yeah, I knew you were going through some stuff.
You and I talked about it a little bit. Yeah,
you said it was that you felt that you couldn't tell Preston that it was the worst year of your life.
I had actually asked my wife last year to not I didn't want to do birthday cake. I didn't want them to sing happy birthday. I didn't want to open presents because I was such a raw nerve. And I was like, I'm going to sob in front of all of you clowns.
I think when you call your family clowns,
you idiots.
Yeah, listen, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but if you jerk off, give me any cake or sing, I'll kill you.
Yeah, but I'm better right now.
Well, here's to 50, Casey. Right around the corner.
Yeah. So there's another thing. It's not in this article too, but I remember it was a while back. It was a person that we knew actually who had passed away, and I'd reported on it, and it turned out that they died on their birthday, and somebody had emailed me and said, I'm curious, did they take their own life? And it turned out that it was the case, and I think that sometimes that birthday marker can also, for somebody who's in severe depression, cause them to spiral.
It's a flag, sort of.
Yeah.
I said this many times on the show that I was not completely convinced, but I for the longest time thought I would die when I was 44, and I'd sort of made peace with that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know where that came from, and I'm always quite an optimistic person, but for some reason that was a year.
I have a number in my head. Yeah.
Yeah?
72.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do better than that.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I mean, on the additional years, not shorter.
All right. It also says another possibility, though, is that death registration records might contain inaccuracies, with some individuals mistakenly recorded as having the same birth and death dates. However, these errors are unlikely to significantly distort the results to the extent observed. The birthday effect is a complex phenomenon that is yet to be fully understood and could be influenced by a combination of all those factors mentioned and maybe more besides.
I remember back in the 80s, they had a gorilla at the Philadelphia Zoo, and they celebrated his birthday, and he died on his birthday. He was like the longest living.
That's the worst celebration ever.
It was horrible. No, but it was the longest. I think it was like the longest living gorilla in captivity at that time.
How did he die?
He took his. No, I don't know.
Life?
Yeah, I don't
like this. It was a snowboarding accident. Yeah. Terrible. All right, that is all we have time for in the junk drawer, so we're going to wrap it up right about now.
Preston's closing up his junk drawer. There's nothing left here in the junk drawer. Until next time, that was the junk drawer.
All right, something I failed to mention on the program today, but we will have, at some point this morning, your chance to win tickets to see Adam Sandler.
Nice. That's
we
terrific.
made the announcement yesterday, and we will have tickets, so you need to stay tuned for your chance to win tickets to that show. September 19th, it will be at the Wells Fargo Center, and tickets go on sale today at noon via Ticketmaster.com. We actually have more show and pre-sale information at WNMR.com, but we'll give away tickets this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Preston and Steve.
95% of the time beat the alarms up, like by 2 or 3 minutes, but you get that 10-minute Preston, you get that 11 minutes, and you're like, what the F do I do now?
Right.
It's like, just get up. Because I find it all the bull crap of what do I do sitting in bed, it's a waste. Get up and expend that energy getting ready and just get on with your day. But I mean, it always has to sit right in that sweet spot, right in that horrible sweet spot.
According to the National Institute of Health, studies across the globe show anywhere from 10 to 30% of the population struggles with insomnia.
Well, that I don't have.
Defined as consistently difficulty falling asleep and the inability to return to sleep after going to bed.
Well, if you get up at, I get up at 3:35. If I wake up at 2 o'clock, I'm not going to have any trouble getting back to sleep. But if I wake up again, you're looking at the alarm clock, and you just have minutes. That's where it becomes a pain in the ass.
I have had the few weeks ago where I get up at 3:50 and I woke up at 2, and then I lay back down. I'm like, okay, go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Wait, I can't go back to sleep.
Oh man,
I can't go back to sleep. Lay there for like 40 minutes. It's like, okay, screw it. I'm getting up.
There's the other thing where, and I've had it happen, it's sort of tangential to this, which is the absolutely not having any idea I thought for some reason in my mind, I thought 1 was 3 o'clock, and invert. And I came in hours early. I told you, you guys, that one morning. But so, do they recommend anything if you're going to have that?
Actually,
that 10 to 15 minute pre-wake up?
And by the way, there's I was not familiar with this. It goes into a little bit more of insomnia. It says they can have a combination of nocturnal awakenings and what's categorized as early morning awakenings.
To have those, you know what I'm saying?
But I mean, as opposed to just the study finds that some people may experience early awakenings without other insomnia symptoms, such as difficulty initiating sleep. So some people can't get to sleep, but nocturnal awakenings and non-restorative sleep, meaning sleep that is substantial even with the recommended hours. But obviously, that isn't substantial. I'm sorry.
We sing the praises, the truth. With the Sleep Number bed, I get a full night's sleep. Doesn't mean, though, you won't wake up a few minutes early, and when you do, that is an annoying thing I'd like to find out how to deal with.
I have all of these things. Everything you described, I got bad insomnia. I have trouble falling asleep. I have trouble staying asleep. And then the waking up before the alarm, that happens to me, too. So, I can't remember the last time I got a good night's sleep.
All right, so the constant waking up before that daily sound of your alarm is coupled with an immense frustration about not falling back to sleep. And that stress can feel isolating and all-consuming, taking more precedence than the initial sleep problem. So you just worrying about
that's it.
And that anxiety
not
creeps
falling
in.
back to sleep, and then it's this cycle.
Yeah. Oh, I can't fall back asleep. Why can't I fall back asleep? Oh, I really can't fall back asleep. And then all of that, and then your brain just starts going and going and going.
Now, if I fall asleep now, how many minutes will I actually sleep for?
That's it. You start doing the damn math, and your brain's working numbers, and you're like, what the hell?
So if you wake up suddenly in what feels like the early morning hours, resist checking the clock. You guys know my little method. I turn the clock around so I can't see it. Finding out it's 3 a.m. when you set the alarm for 7 can cause increased stress about the hours of sleep that you hope to attain. It says you look at the clock, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, like clockwork, and immediately tension might grit your teeth. You think of all the demands, how awful it is to be when you're sleep deprived, and all this mental processing and agitation is antithetical to the sleep state. It's making you more alert and aroused.
Oh, yeah. Massive boner.
Versus sending the signal to the brain that it's okay to drift.
Oh, yeah.
If your alarm is on the phone, checking the clock can pose an even more significant trigger.
Look, he's got a boner.
That's one of my favorite clips. I love it. Play it again.
Okay.
Look, he's got a boner.
Considering getting an alarm that isn't attached to your phone, they say. So when you actually pick up the phone and start looking at it, that can cause you to stay a little bit at work. Now, this is what I did not know, okay?
I did not know that.
And, Steve, this is not the waking up 15 minutes before. This is waking up like a couple hours ahead of time.
Oh, all right.
So, paradoxically, experts say you should get out of bed, even at 3 a.m. I had always heard stay in bed.
What?
Just keep staying there. It says abandon the idea of getting back to sleep. When you do that, when you let the pressure go that sleep isn't so effortful, sleep is more likely to come back.
I'll be fine in surgery later on.
In a stimulus control technique, you can distract your brain with a mundane task to help bring back drowsiness faster than staying frustrated in bed.
Like tap dancing?
Is that mundane?
Yeah.
That's kind of dynamic and exciting, though, isn't it?
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
So what is a mundane task?
That's a good question. They don't recommend anything in this
Paint your bathroom
list. So get up and clean out the garage. It says as soon as that little voice comes on, change the environment. Get out of bed. Try to reset your brain and keep the lights low. Mentally assigning the bed with sleeping helps people associate positive sleep thoughts with their space. Leaving the room when agitation sets in can separate the frustration from the bed.
So what you're looking to do is extract those connections, then that makes sense.
All right, here you go, Nick. Anything from reading a book to knitting.
Okay.
Or listening to soft music.
So knit at 3 a.m.
Are Santeria rituals, would they fall into this category?
Sacrificing a chicken at 3 o'clock in the morning might not be a good idea.
I try to read sometimes. That seems to having a book at the, on the bedstand or whatever, that might help.
Would it help more if you were to actually leave the bed, go into another room and read like in a chair?
Yeah, maybe.
Probably.
Right? And that's what they're suggesting here, right? You disassociate that deal.
I think part of the problem for us is just inherently the time at which we have to get up in the morning. You know, like it's just too damn early. And because it's that early, I know that in the back of my mind. And so like I put pressure on myself to get a good night's sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just, that makes it worse.
The Kathy Romano story, chapter 1.
That's
right.
Could you imagine if that was the book he was reading? You'd never sleep.
I like the idea of getting up and knitting in the middle of the night,
At
Nick.
3.
So you can, yeah. You're done.
Knitting, 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 knitting.
He doesn't sound relaxed.
That'll put you to sleep.
I have an alarm clock that actually projects the time on the ceiling. So, and I actually like that. I when I wake up and I'm not sure what time it is, I'm just as many times I'm comforted by the fact that I have 2 hours, an hour and a half left to sleep. You know, that it doesn't bother me that much.
Many people are texting in saying that pleasuring themselves helps them get back to sleep.
What about a stranger?
Pleasuring a stranger or a stranger pleasuring you?
You walk around on, would you like a handy?
I'm sorry. I'm having trouble sleeping.
I noticed you were walking your Shih Tzu. Can I give you a hand job?
That's kind of a mundane task, right?
It's pretty boring for the giver, right?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to bed now.
Woof, I'm pooped.
Progressive muscle relaxation may work.
Okay, so like morphine.
No, not muscle relaxers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Muscle relaxation. So start at the toes, clench the given muscles for 3 seconds, and release. And then Kathy, breathe through this process. The 4-7-8 breathing
there it is.
exercise.
You guys have raved about this.
Coupled with
did it
muscle
last night.
relaxation can be successful. Kath, I did it not that long ago.
Please explain it again.
You want to do it or me?
We could do
Why
it.
don't you do it together in
explain it
harmony?
and I'll do the breathing? No.
Okay, so what you do is you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. You hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then you let that air out for 8 seconds. And then you repeat the process. And I think I do it like 5 times.
Yeah,
Kath.
I do it like 4 or 5 times.
And you're usually good after that.
And it's
yep.
not like it knocks you out immediately. Like I remember every time I'm like,
I'm not sleeping.
This is dumb. It didn't work. And then the next thing you know, you're waking up.
And then you wake up and you're like, oh my God, that thing worked.
It worked. It actually does work. So it slows your heart rate down and it helps you get into that
Kind of just
zone.
helps you relax.
Yep. And I would imagine you could.
Excuse me.
Why?
So, yes, you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 7.
Okay.
Breathe out through 8, and it works great, man.
It has a regulating effect, and you
Yeah.
think you're more inclined to fall asleep after that.
Now, it also says others may find that yoga may help.
Or cottage cheese.
Like getting up and doing yoga.
Oh,
right
yoga.
then
At
and
3 a.m. Honey, what are you doing?
I'm doing sleeping dog.
Yoga.
meditation or reading can help when you wake up before the alarm. But
I don't
no,
think any of that would help me.
really.
I would be exhausted.
I like the
But you're supposed to be.
But so are they saying to stay awake?
No. I mean, well,
To
yeah,
do this
get up
to
and
fall
do
back to
this,
sleep.
and then you can go back to sleep easier.
Yeah, no.
So these are obviously hours, as you said earlier. These aren't just minutes. I can see where that. So for me, if it has happened, like that's why I've just come into work, Preston. On those certain times, I'll just get ready and
Yeah.
And,
What
you
am I
have
doing?
as well. You did just recently.
Yep.
You
What am
just
I
come
doing?
in.
I may as well just go in, you know.
Next time, do yoga and try to go back to sleep.
Let me get some calls.
Go sleep driving.
I have a psychologist, Jenny, who's on the line. Hey, Jenny, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, what's up, Jenny?
I'm a psychologist, and I actually work in a primary care office, and so much of what I help people with is sleep challenges and anxiety stuff. So these things you guys are talking about are right on point. The 4-7-8 breathing for sure, and the idea of getting up out of bed, either when you can't fall asleep initially, or if it is that middle of the night, like they said, we call it the 20-20 rule. So if you lay in bed for more than 20 minutes and you're still tossing and turning, your mind is still racing and you're awake, the best thing to do is get up and do something quiet and boring for another 20 or 30 minutes,
20 minutes,
and then try again.
So don't try to force it. So years and years ago, and I say it in the commercials because it's true with the sleep number, and everything. It's been much better. My sleep has been very consistent over the years. But the prior to that, occasionally I'd be like Nick. I have difficulty getting to sleep, and so the notion of trying to force sleep while you're in bed is a losing proposition. Correct?
Exactly, right. It just gets yourself more worked up, and then you start to associate your bed with this is where I lay down and I'm stressed, rather than this is where I lay down and I sleep.
All right,
And so,
I have a question for that.
Yeah.
For that, if you get up for you lay in bed 20 minutes, you toss and turn and get back to sleep. You need to get up for 20 minutes. I would assume you don't want to get on a screen, your phone or your laptop.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly, right. We say no screens, don't scroll your phone, don't turn on the TV. My go-to is like just do something lame, like read the refrigerator manual, like something just totally, non-stimulating, and like they said, keeping it dark and quiet.
So nothing that actually engages you.
Right, because you don't want your brain to wake up more.
Okay.
So you could read a book, that you're not too, if you're not the kind of person that'll get sucked in and have to finish the whole thing.
The Kathy Romano story.
So then, Jenny, and this is a legitimate question. I assume then that like pleasuring yourself maybe not a good idea.
Well, for some people, it does. It gives you that relief, and you get exhausted, and you can fall asleep afterwards.
Okay, so it's not off the table, right?
Right.
Okay,
right.
thank God. No, so I to me, I guess the presumption that you're doing something that would bore you, or at least
right.
Could you? So anything with a screen though is going to be like if you were to put on a documentary on drywall and watch that.
I mean, maybe, but we always talk about the blue light.
Okay.
Telling your brain it's time to wake up, like any light. So that's why you do want to keep the lights dim.
Jenny,
and everything like that.
What about this? And I thought this article would touch on this, but it really didn't. But what about you wake up like 15 minutes before your alarm goes off?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Normally, I would say just get up because it's better to go with your body's natural cycle rather than start falling back asleep for another 10 minutes and then you're more groggy, those 15 minutes later.
So, Jenny, my internal clock wakes me up just about a minute, 2 minutes ahead of my actual alarm. Which is actually a nice thing. I can shut it off before it startles me, and that's good.
Yeah, that's great.
So so that's a desirable thing.
You trained your body when to get up.
All right, excellent. All right, cool.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you, Jenny.
Thank you guys for sharing these good tips.
Bye-bye,
Jenny.
Bye-bye, Jenny. Hang on, let me go to Patrick. Hi, Patrick. Good morning.
Hi, Gadzooks.
Gadzooks, what's up, buddy?
Hey, so I actually have this condition called sleep paralysis.
Okay.
And it's basically when your brain is awake, but your body is still in that REM sleep cycle. So your body's pretty much locked up.
Okay.
And sometimes I will actually I'll wake up in sleep paralysis when my alarm's going off, and I can't turn it off at all.
Wow. You're actually sort of paralyzed?
Yeah, I can't move at all. I can move my eyes around and everything else, but I just can't move my body.
That's got to be terrifying.
Do you know what's happening?
Yeah. I know exactly when it's happening.
Oh, he fell asleep.
Oh,
Jesus.
Hey, Patrick, have you ever had someone speaking to you, and then later on you can tell them what they were saying?
3WMMR.
All right, thank you very much, Nick. I have a couple of shout-outs. I've been slacking in that department, so I've missed a couple of the requested days. I've two shorts and one butt plug.
All right.
So this is from Jerry Benjamin. He says, greetings from New Hampshire. And I'd love to give a birthday shout-out to my son, John Benjamin, who turns 49 on June 24th. So you see, I missed it. He is a lifetime resident of South Jersey. Huge fan of your show. 10 years ago, he treated me to an barbecue, and since then, kept insisting that I should give your show a listen because it wasn't the typical morning show, and he correctly predicted that I'd become a fan.
How about that?
And I love catching your shows on YouTube. He said it's nice seeing your faces with your discussions, and I believe he deserves a huge shout out for turning me on and turning me into a big Preston C fan. So here you go. Thank you very much. And then here's another one. This is from Alex Shane and says, hey, sorry to bother you guys at work, but I need to request a shout out for one of my favorite people on the planet, Tony Norbaum. Chef Tony just had his last day at the White Dog in Glen Mills this past weekend, so he can embark on a new and really exciting adventure at Il Fiore in Bryn Mawr. He is a very loyal listener, loves you guys. He's loved contributing to Dining Out for the Dogs and your food drive every year, and I know that he'll continue to build community and contribute to your events in this new position, and I'm so proud of him and can't wait to see what he'll accomplish. So please give him a juicy shout out. So here you go.
Tony's a great guy, and he has participated greatly in the Dining Out for Dogs event, which is coming up soon. But love that restaurant, and they do so much great charity work.
All right, and then a butt plug says, "Hey, Preston, my family has been going through a tough time right now. My brother-in-law was just diagnosed with small cell lung cancer a few days before his 40th birthday. So we're holding a benefit for him in July. I want to know if you could plug it on the show. It's going to be July 12th, and it is a dinner benefit for Michael Bailey, and it will be at the Fraternal Order of Eagles, which is 100 Cohansey Street, I believe is how you say that, in Bridgeton, New Jersey. And doors open at 4 p.m. And tickets are $25 each. It's for dinner and entry. And that includes dinner with a chance at winning 3 door prizes. Tickets can be purchased via Cash App or Venmo. You must have a ticket to enter for dinner. Online tickets that are purchased will be waiting at the door. So it says no tickets will be available for purchase at the door, so you need to order these ahead of time.
All right.
Nick, I think I sent that info to you.
I think so, too.
Because I got the email back in May, actually. So
what's the date again? Does it say?
It is going to be on July 12th.
Okay, I'll look it up.
All proceeds will go to Michael Bailey towards medical bills and expenses. So I wanted to pass that along. If you need it, I have the info here, and I can give it to you.
Okay.
So there's
we
your
got it.
Plug.
It's on the community page, and there's a nice photo of Michael on there as well. Lung cancer benefit. Yep.
All right, excellent. So take a look on the community page of PrestonSteve.com. You go to PrestonSteve.com, you click on events, and then you'll find the community page. That's where it is.
Nice. I want to give a shout out, or shard out, I should say, to Jim Antes. So every year, Jim and all the boys from West Catholic, they take part in this golf outing. This is the Friends of Tim Mandak and Snake Antez's annual golf outing. So shout out to the boys from West Catholic and the Tim Mandak and Snake Antez annual golf outing.
That's very cool.
And before we get into the bizarre file, let's rain down the no sad bro. If you watch that on YouTube, there's some animation that has been added to the Friday Froggy celebration. So make sure that when we do that every week, you tune into our YouTube stream. I love it. All right, let's get to the bizarre file.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
We're on this morning by Delco Trimlight. You can visit delcotrimlight.com to schedule an estimate on installation of the coolest permanent programmable holiday lighting system around. In Indiana, a dispute over religion at a bar near Michigan City's lakefront exploded into several people fighting along with an arrest. Blake Scheuber is being held after the brawl. Now, several customers at Matey's told officers a verbally aggressive Scheuber had been wanting to fight several people disagreeing with his belief in Jesus.
Okay.
I want to fight you.
When customers were informed the bar was closing for the night, Scheuber exchanged words with the bartender and was escorted outside, where he began pedaling away on a bicycle. However, police said the investigation indicates that Scheuber hopped off of the two-wheeler and walked over to people in the parking lot asking, "Who wants some?"
That's the standard inquiry. Yeah. Is Matey's a pirate bar by any chance?
I don't know, but this guy was getting in fights over Jesus. There were punches that were apparently thrown, and when officers arrived, Scheuber had a man in a headlock as well. Police said Scheuber was also very combative towards officers, forcing them to place restraints around his wrists and ankles. He was booked on charges of battery to a public safety official and other counts like disorderly conduct and public intoxication.
I'm going to say this right now. I think his methodology would not be approved of by Jesus.
I'm guessing maybe not. Yeah. All right, an Asbury Park lifeguard sitting on the stand was impaled by a beach umbrella Wednesday morning that entered her armpit and exited her back.
Jeez.
Officials had to cut the pole, which was about an inch in diameter on both sides, to fit her into the ambulance. Chief Chris Beckerlow said she basically had a 6-foot umbrella pole that entered into her left armpit and exited out the left side of her back. The lifeguards did patient care and stabilization until the fire department arrived. He said we had to cut it into manageable sections. We can't put a 6-foot umbrella into an ambulance.
So you guys are at the beach fairly often. Do you see these things lift up and go shooting across the
Rarely,
beach?
but it happens.
Yep.
Yeah. So there was very minimal external bleeding, and the lifeguard was conscious and alert and did not appear to be in extreme pain. He said she seemed a lot better than I would be.
If you had an umbrella sticking through your chest?
Yeah. She was transported to the trauma center at Jersey Shore Medical Center in Neptune. The injuries absolutely could have been more severe had the pole entered her body in a different location, and she was on the stand and then fell off with this umbrella through her.
And these things have killed people.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Officials caution beachgoers to secure their umbrellas, especially on windy days. The California Highway Patrol says a man was arrested for suspicion of driving under the influence after they say that he crashed through a brick wall and ended up in the backyard. They say the car continued through the yard after it went through the brick wall, coming to a rest inches from a children's play structure. The driver was not hurt, but officers say he was so intoxicated that he actually slept on the hood of the patrol car.
Oh, wow. That is bombed.
Making a field sobriety test unnecessary.
I gotta get some sleep.
Because of the man's poor decision to drink and drive, he went to jail and faces expensive attorney courtroom fees and fines, not to mention damages to the property and the car. But he was so hammered, he passed out on the patrol car.
Appears to be standing up, leaning across the hood.
Yep.
That's how bombed he was.
Yep, on his back.
On his back.
Mm-hmm. All right, this apparently is this guy's actual name. This would be the third story this week that we had with somebody with a unique name, Patches Magic Beans.
Patches Magic Beans.
It's
like an Aesop fable.
Was charged with 2 counts of criminal vehicular operation and drug offense after authorities say he plowed his van through a Highway 61 work zone on June 19th.
I traded our cows for these magic beans.
An off-duty officer saw the Wisconsin man's van swerving before it smashed cones, slammed a scissor lift inside Lafayette Tunnel, rolled, and critically hurt a worker. A second worker hung from a light to avoid the impact, and troopers found psilocybin mushrooms in the van. Magic Beans later admitted eating, quote, a small one and an edible the day before.
So the names we had were Looney Tunes and No Name Given?
No Name Given, yep.
Yeah.
So he displayed hallucinations and fought rescuers, according to the complaint, and he held on a $75,000 bail in Lake County and is due back in court. So of those, which one do you like the most? Do you
Looney
like
Tunes.
Patches Magic Beans, Looney Tunes, or No Name Given?
Just because I'm a Looney Tunes fan.
I like
wanna go
Patches
with it.
Magic Beans.
Patches Magic Beans says something.
Yeah. All right, former jewelry store manager Lucy Roberts will serve 28 months in a UK prison after vacation photos showed her wearing jewelry that was stolen from her own shop. Colleagues grew suspicious when Roberts posted cruise selfies decked out in pieces they recognized as missing.
Oh, man.
Police reviewed stock records, uncovered fake returns, and searched her home.
No, he's just taking pictures for the new catalog.
Recovering more than 260 items worth over $170,000 tucked in boxes and suitcases.
That's a crap load of jewelry.
Officers arrested her at Heathrow Airport. She returned from the trip still wearing some of the loot and captured body cam video of her trying to hide rings. Roberts denied wrongdoing but was convicted of large-scale theft. We'll do one more story, and then we will wrap it up. Let's end with this one. How many dollars would you take for a dookie? Medigen is a pharmaceutical company that will pay $34.50 per dump to those selected as prime poop donators.
Wow, man.
I'll do it.
Only the finest feces is accepted, though, with just 5% to 10% of people managing to pass the prime poop selection process.
So what are the parameters for what they would consider
I don't
prime
know.
poop? Honestly, I think I could be a contender.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with what I produce.
The poop is then used to harvest intestinal bacteria for pharmaceutical use.
I see.
If you're feeling left out, don't. There are companies in the U.S. that will harvest poop, too. So this one is in Japan, by the way.
Let's say if you're a person who's well-respected in their field.
Yeah. So here's what you can do. Literally, you can search on Google and find out where there's feces donations accepted.
There we go.
Make some money just for taking a dump.
Man, that's the easiest.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, absolutely. Watch AI try and do that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Place that.
All right, there you go. That's what I have in the bizarre file for you this morning. You have been so good today that I would like to give you Adam Sandler tickets.
Oh,
how about that? We'll take caller number 20 at 610-660-9333, and we will give you a pair of tickets to see Adam Sandler, the You're My Best Friend tour at the Wells Fargo Center, September 19th. And tickets go on sale today at noon via Ticketmaster.com. We also have pre-sale information. Well, I guess the pre-sale is probably over by now. But you can go to WMMR.com with all the information you need to know about this particular show. So let's set you up with that right now. Caller number 20. And those aren't the only tickets that we will have to give away. I have more as the show progresses. So listen throughout the program for your chance to win. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back in a moment. The Connoisseur.
Yeah.
When we return, stay with us, friend.
My girlfriend actually sometimes she talks in her sleep, and I can hear every word, and I just can't move my body.
Wow.
Yeah, Patrick, it has to be kind of a wild picture to see you there locked up with your eyes open, her asleep talking away. It's got to be a weird
absolutely.
dynamic. Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
what are the dangers that come with sleep paralysis?
I don't think there's really any dangers.
Okay.
Since your body is still in REM sleep cycle, you can have hallucinations. I've seen a few, shadows on the wall or whatever, but it doesn't really bother me that much. I'm kind of used to it now.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. And how long have you been suffering from this?
Since I was a kid.
No kidding.
It's interesting. You wonder with things like this when people talk about seeing,
Thanks, Patrick.
With apparitions or whatever. I wonder, how much of that is born of conditions like this.
Yeah. Good question. I'm going to go to Gene, who has insomnia. Hey, Gene. Good morning.
You're a crumb creep.
You're a lush.
Lush.
Yeah.
I'll take you out back and make you go to sleep.
What's happening, Gene?
You're a creep.
Preston, every night I wake up sometime between 2 and 4. I don't have to get out of bed until 5:30.
Oh.
So do you go back to sleep, Gene, or are you able to?
Generally not.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll just lay there. I never got out of bed and did anything like the psychologist
Try that.
suggested.
Are you willing
Yeah,
to?
I will.
Yeah. See, I mean, I'd never crossed my mind. I always thought that the idea was to stay where you are and just
Right.
try to settle back in.
Work through it.
Yeah.
The worst thing I did, the doctor prescribed me something called Ambien.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that is a nasty, nasty pill.
Maybe you could try counting sheep.
1, 2, 3.
There it is.
There you go.
It didn't work, Steve.
That was
No, but give this thing a shot. But Ambien was that was nasty for you.
Every day after, I would rather not sleep than have a day after taking one of those. It's like you have a really bad hangover the entire day.
People
That's just the side effects really outweighed the benefit.
Yeah, people with chronic insomnia who have to deal with that issue. To me, to know usually the joy of being able to go up and get into bed and you're going to relax down and rest. That's the absolute opposite for someone who has insomnia.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Gene. We appreciate the call.
You're
Good
a
luck with
crumb
everything.
creep, lush coward.
That's your sleep therapist.
Yeah. So anyhow, obviously there's some things you can do, but getting up and moving around is one that you wouldn't consider.
Right.
Being the right thing to do. The breathing technique as
Square
well
dancing.
as well. Maybe a quick square dance. Little Alaman left, maybe. So anyhow, take those for what you will if you've been having problems. We do need to take a break and come back in a second because we have a guest. We're going to meet the new head coach of the Flyers.
Yeah.
We had an interesting conversation with Bill Clement about him last week. So we'll see if he lives up to that reputation. John Tortorella will be with us when we get back. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve. 93.3 WMMR. Ever wondered where to get the latest MMR gear?
There wasn't any toilet paper.
You need to understand.
And
don't tell anyone.
Dude, you laughed so hard. You were just...
You're so vulnerable.
I was at my most vulnerable ever.
Give me a hug.
Come here, buddy. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. Come here.
All right. So anyhow... So you've had this happen, and I saw this article with some pretty interesting tips. It says, instead of descending into self-loathing, have an action plan. Here's what to do when there's no toilet paper in your bathroom stall. So
well,
they
this
have
can
some
be very
suggestions.
helpful. Good.
Yes.
I think everyone can use this at some point in time.
So I'm going to read from this article verbatim because there are some good tips here. And feel free to share your own stories if you like. 215-263-WMMR. So it says in this article, number one, first thing is ask for help. It says if you're alone in the restroom, the obvious first step is to check other stalls for supplies. If you're not alone, just call on the love of your fellow humans. If there's someone else in the restroom, swallow your pride, make a polite request for assistance. Help! It says you may... You may feel embarrassed,
right?
But we all have to move our bowels at some point, and it's significantly better than the next few options that are going to be explored in this article.
I think all things being equal, I think you would attempt to help out someone were you outside the stall and someone called for help from you. It's just the kind of thing that we could all commiserate on,
Agreed.
Right?
So swallow your pride, swallow your embarrassment, go ahead.
Swallow your fist.
And just ask for some help and see if some stranger in there has some toilet paper. Now, if there's no one in there,
right,
and you can't leave the stall for whatever reason, then your next step to contemplate is non-standard paper products.
Which is the thing that rifles through everyone's mind. What can you possibly use?
To wipe my ass.
Right.
Well, sometimes you have the ass gasket. It's just sitting there, right?
Have you ever used an ass gasket?
Let me go through these.
Yeah.
Number one, toilet seat covers.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ass
so we
gasket.
have them.
And these are in order, by the way, of which ones you should use. Okay. Given your druthers,
right,
that's the first one you should go for. And they give reasons why.
Okay, please.
These are your best option if available. They are sanitary and flushable.
Are they?
So they're really just oddly shaped toilet paper anyway.
All right, hold for one.
They're probably the smoothest option as far as comfort level goes.
All right. So this actually adds something that makes me angry now. Because I will go in, and many is the time I'll go in and see the ass gasket still on the toilet.
Still there.
Now knowing that it's flushable makes it even more.
And even if it wasn't, just go throw it.
Get rid of it.
Way. Some people's public bathroom habits, specifically
here
in buildings where they are regular tenants.
Yes.
They're here working every day. And I see the regular stuff happening all the time. And I'm like, honestly, really? Seriously? Seriously.
Filthy animal.
It's basic.
Yeah.
It's seriously basic to flush the toilet. That's what that handle is there for. Or take away. It's like going out in the woods. Leave no trace.
Leave no trace.
Right.
It's a pretty easy concept.
And usually it's
keep it clean.
When you walk in, it's very anonymous. You have no idea who left the mess or
unless
whatever.
you sign the wall.
But I was washing my hands one time, and somebody came in, used the stall to go number one, and left the toilet seat up, and then left. And I'm like, ugh, just put the toilet seat down.
That's not as bad as
I agree.
Still,
yeah.
I know, but you're making somebody else touch that toilet seat.
Well, you're going to be communing with it in some form or another. Your body will be. So I got it. I understand. Technically, yes, you're right.
It's not the worst.
But that doesn't set me off.
That one's nominal.
Yeah.
I think. All right. So then you have your second option outside of the toilet seat cover, paper towels. obviously.
Okay, you're saying what you're saying. This list says is more corrosive or more irritating than the ass gasket.
Yeah, if you grab some paper towels, it says from the sink area, you have a scratchy but effective substitute.
Would you moisten said paper towels?
You can minimize the roughness by getting them a little damp before using.
And that's what I would do.
Which is what I was attempting to do when Casey came into the bathroom and saw my full frontal moment.
I had a similar moment to that where the person was getting paper towels, not for the reason that you were getting them, a different female reason. And she looked at me and she went, "I'm so sorry. Do not talk about this on the air." And I was like, got it. Check.
All right, now here may be one that you did not consider.
Uh-huh.
All right, and this is what actually made me go, okay, this might be worth mentioning on the air, this whole conversation. The cardboard roll. Now, this is when you're getting down to, I have no options here. So the bare cardboard toilet paper roll might be mocking you from the dispenser, but you can use it for an extremely unpleasant wiping experience.
How would you extricate it? Like we have our
It depends on what you have. Ours is industrial size.
You can't
So
get in
I
there.
don't think you'd be able to do that. It's the type of thing that if you have yoga classes that it's like you can roll your back on, like it's that, you know what I'm talking
right.
about? Kathy?
Yeah. So unless you have an extraordinarily large ass, is that going to help?
But
you?
it says, like paper towels, you can make it marginally more comfortable with some strategic dampening. But if you have to, you can use, and I think that's more like the standard home version of toilet paper, that cardboard roll.
Right.
You can kind of tear it apart.
And it's different sheets. I mean, and that's, you're really slumming it at that point. But when you have no options, you have no options.
All right. Then moves on to another level.
Oh, can I guess?
Yes.
The floor tiles.
No.
No.
It says, let's say you've wandered into some sort of Mad Max restroom where there are no paper products at all, not even the cardboard roll, and you've started your business and you haven't noticed it and it's too late. It says, a wasteland of bacteria and shame.
Oh, boy.
It's time then to search for a hidden reservoir of paper on your person. Check your pockets and your wallet for anything that could be used.
That dump just cost me $150.
Well, it goes through some.
Really?
Options here. So,
all right.
Starts with tissues. Says this one's pretty obvious. Of course, if you have a pack of tissues in your coat pocket, your toilet experience won't be so traumatic.
Do you have tissues with you? Do you have a handkerchief with you?
I don't.
I have tissues in my bag.
Ladies usually do in their bag.
So walk over to the ladies' room with your pants around your ankles.
You could do that if you're desperate. All right, how about this? And I never would have thought of this. Receipts. If you went to CVS right before you hit the loo,
you're good to go.
you're in luck. You can wipe for days.
You can wipe other people's butts.
It says paper receipts aren't ideal.
No.
But they can get the job done. It says, sure, you might not be able to return those ill-advised impulse purchases, but you will have defeated entropy for one more day, and that's not nothing. So if you have that, you're available. Now, how about this? Wrappers.
I don't see. Okay, I hear this. I never have any of this.
Similarly, yeah, but you may, at that moment, you may have just stuck something into your pocket. You may have just picked something up, and you might have it in your pocket. It's worth looking for.
All right.
Similarly, candy wrappers or other packaging that you've got in a bag or in your pocket may also provide a bit of emergency relief here. And then, Steve, the one that you mentioned at the top, cash. Says, yes, that makes this the most expensive public restroom you've ever used, but wasting a few $1 bills might be worth it in this instance. If you don't have any singles, you're going to have to engage in a very serious conversation with yourself regarding the price of your dignity. Thank you very much, Nick, I should say. It is Friday morning, and we like to do a little thing called the Connoisseur on Fridays, so let's do it.
It's time for the Connoisseur with bells and everything.
All right, and we're going to have a special contributor to the Connoisseur in just a moment. We'll get to him in one of our following stories, but I need to mention that the Connoisseur is sponsored by our friends at Acme, official supermarket of the President and Steve Show. We'll be giving away $50 Acme Markets gift cards in a moment with the movie clip thing that we do.
I just picked up a couple of my Acme parfaits. Love them.
All right, so we're going to start with this one. The team at Choice Mutual decided to take the concept of the last meal for criminals and surveyed regular Americans about what they'd choose to eat for the last time ever. So to just give you a frame of reference, like Timothy McVeigh wanted 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream. Ted Bundy asked for a classic breakfast with steak and eggs. So those are some notorious criminals that were on death row and executed.
It's a tough decision to make. I think one that you can only seriously make if you are staring down death. But what do you think would end up on your plate?
Well, I mentioned this. We talked about this one time before, and Casey was kind of perplexed at my answer. But I had said that I would probably have fried rice, and he was like, "Fried rice? That's not what kind of last meal is that?" So that is, it's a family. I would have to make it because it's the recipe that I use and that I grew up with, and it's just comfort food for me.
Right.
And so that's what I would want. On the way out, I will want some comfort food.
You want to be in a good place when the firing squad is.
I don't necessarily want my last meal to be something overly fancy or some culinary, experience. I just want it to be something that I know and love.
So there's a couple of ways to go with this. You're going to go with, this is my last time I'm going to taste this thing that I've always loved. Here's something. Well, I'm not going to worry how I'm going to look at my summer clothes, so I can reckless abandon. Or I want to eat something so horrible I'm going to embrace death.
Right. So the majority of folks apparently keep it pretty simple when it comes to their culinary preferences. The majority of folks would pick their favorite dish as their last meal or a familiar comfort food. Only 1 in 6 Americans would pick something fancy like lobster tails or caviar, while 1 in 8 would prefer a sentimental dish, something from their childhood, possibly.
I wonder if prisons do offer, like, bottomless something. Because you could actually run out your sentence a little bit longer. Right? More.
Well, a lot of places did stop offering last meals altogether, which I think is, listen, I mean, the person is being executed for doing something horrible.
Yes.
Obviously, but... I thought that the movie, The Green Mile, kind of got it right. The key is to keep everyone calm, calm as possible, so you don't have any last minute, big problems. And maybe offering a last meal is one thing that they can look forward to, and maybe keep them calm. And so anyway,
wouldn't you hate though if you have your last meal and the bill comes? And you're like, I didn't have an open roast beef sandwich.
But the reason they stopped doing it is because some people started taking advantage of it and pushing it to unacceptable levels.
It's not Make-A-Wish.
Ordering too much food and stuff like that. And you see, this is why we can't have nice things.
There we go. We can't.
Everybody ruined it for us.
Can't have prisoners.
Yeah. So just 1% say they would use the opportunity to try something new and unusual. Researchers were surprised to find that respondents didn't care who cooked the meal. Most say it doesn't matter as long as it tastes good, but some would prefer a loved one, and even fewer would pick a celebrity chef to prepare.
Imagine if the law mandated that if a prisoner on death row were to request it, you as a celebrity chef would have to acquiesce, and then you could have Bobby Flay coming to Chino to cook fried rice for a prisoner.
It's funny you should say Bobby Flay because that's my last meal. It would be a Bobby Flay cheeseburger.
You have long sung the praise. Does Bobby Flay know how much you adore his burgers?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, maybe. No, because we did interview him one time.
Right.
So the number one item on the list that people would have as their last meal, steak.
Steak.
Is number one.
Not for me, yeah.
Yep. Number 2, potatoes.
What can you do with a potato? What are the various dishes?
I could boil them, I think.
Yeah.
Any other options?
Mash
I
them,
think
maybe?
you can mash them. And if you really want to, you can stick them in a stew.
I love it.
That's the guess.
it.
So anyhow.
Is there any way I could remember those options, though?
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Got it.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
All right, so potatoes is number 2. I'm sorry, potatoes.
Yeah.
Number 2. Number 3, pasta. Number 4, pizza. 5, vegetables. Number 6 is bread. I guess that's all they want. Just some bread, please.
Yeah. Remember the classic thing. You go to prison, all they give you is bread and water.
Number 7.
Arugula. What's that? It's a vegetable.
Number 7, lobster.
No.
Now, here you're talking. Number 8, fries.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Those are potatoes?
You'd have to have some fries. Number 9, mac and cheese. And then number 7 was lobster, and number 10 is lobster. I don't know how that happened. on this list.
Well, they're convicted killers. What are you going to?
A steak sandwich and a steak sandwich.
This is actually one of those great, hypothetical questions because it covers all sorts of different things. Do you want to go sweet or you want to go savory? Do you want to go? Do you want to just have a complete gluttony? A gluttonous moment with French fries, or do you want? I love bread from this restaurant. Those are all tough decisions to make.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, we are ready to play our first clip for you this morning, and we'll see if you can identify. This has to do with food or drink, and if you can identify the movie, then we have a $50 Acme gift card, which you'll need to call in to win. Here is the clip.
Hey, SpaghettiOs! You like SpaghettiOs? Yeah. Dented cans at half price. Microsoft went down 3 points. We got to save some money.
All right. 610-660-9333 is the number. Call if you know the answer. Order up. We're going to do 2 stories here, and I'm lumping them together. I'm finding new ways to incorporate stories together.
Wow, you are the wayfinder.
This is all about Delco restaurants.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to start with this one. First of all, a beloved Delaware County location that announced its closure in March has some new big news. Pika's in Upper Darby back in March said that it would close its doors after 70 years of serving hungry Delconians. The restaurant then said it was looking to shutter in summer, but a new announcement changes the situation. In a social media post from the restaurant, they said, "We have decided to delay our closing to the fall. The dining room and takeout service will remain open through the summer." The post went on to say variances were just approved for a new location in Broomall.
Ladies and gentlemen, a new location for Casey to visit.
Casey lives in Broomall.
This is great. This is great news, guys.
So the post says, "Thank you for your patience and understanding. As we navigate this transition, we will surely update you with more information about this new location as we finalize all the details."
What do you think the odds are this decision was based entirely on putting it in proximity to you?
I think it's 100%. That's the reason. Now, before this announcement, we talked to people about this, and there was a location I said in Broomall that would be perfect for this.
Is this in fact that location?
I don't know. We don't know where the location is, but there's this restaurant. I'm like, it's been there for as long as I can remember, and I never see anybody going in there. So I'm like, maybe it will be that one.
So we had Sherry O'Terry on the show. We just did the playback this morning, and Pika's is one of her favorites.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, she's Upper Darby girl.
Yeah.
So we'll see, and we'll get you an update on that when we find out. Now, the second part of the Delco restaurant recipe that we're throwing together right now, we have a gentleman joining us via Zoom, and just this week, his restaurant was featured on a Gordon Ramsay show, and we're welcoming our friend Steve Wilson of Wilson's Secret Sauce. Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Turkey dinner for me on death row all the way.
Turkey dinner. All right, good enough. All right, so Steve, what is the name of Gordon's show? I know the episode ran on Wednesday, but what is the name of the show for those who haven't seen it yet?
Gordon Ramsay's Secret Service.
Secret Service. All right, and Casey was telling us, I got a text from him, and I read it this morning. He was actually crying when he watched the episode.
I was blown away. I got a text from my wife. Unbeknownst to me, she was watching, because she's down the shore. She was watching it the same time that I was watching it. And I was like not just like a tear, like sobbing, it was just so emotional. And she texted me, she's like, "I cannot believe I've been crying watching this episode." And it was really, really touching. Hey, Cal. Kelly's on the Zoom as well. That's Steve's wife.
Hi, Cal.
I watched the episode as well. And so I've listened. We had talked about in anticipation of this, because there was a little bit, Steve, of a little bit of a quasi bait and switch about what the premise of the show was about. But just explain what the idea is, what Gordon Ramsay does. I started recording the series from the beginning because I did not want to miss your episode. So explain what he does with this.
He basically came in and helped straighten us out. During COVID, we closed the dining room down, and our menu just blew up to 75 items. And we had, we sold everything on the menu, but it was just, I would put Joe, my chef, on the grill and he'd have 10 burgers going, cheesesteaks going. He was scattered all over. We're trying to turn tables and it just wasn't efficient enough. So he jumped in and recognized our problems, worked on Kelly and I, our menu, and a new approach. We've been open for 7 years now.
So the thing is that like he does in the beginning, they go in and they set up cameras and they're going to monitor what's going on and they're going to see what you guys do. And I know, Kelly, you were, part of the deal is they go in and they say, oh, this place is this and it's horrible inside. They couldn't do that with you guys because you keep it really clean and everyone loves you. We were talking about this in the area. Everyone loves what you do, the charitable work and so on and so forth. And so my radar was really up about how are they going to bend this? Mm-hmm. And it turned out it was pretty good. How do you feel about the results now that you've seen the fully edited episode?
I feel great. It just, I was a mechanic for 30 years and it just, I didn't go into this business with any training. I didn't go into it with any bad habits either.
We never said we did.
Yeah.
And so I feel really good about it. I had a customer that came in he was from Wisconsin, stopped in Lancaster, was on his way to Staten Island, and we broke a tear together at the table because he related to what it was. And when he Googled where we were only 13 miles away. So he came in and had lunch and and it was good. Like I've had messages and emails from Canada, California, all over the place, emails and text messages and messages on, we've had over 1 million views on our Facebook page since the speculation began. So
I don't think anybody has sent us a text that didn't say that they were crying.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's crazy. So listen, I really enjoyed the episode. I was worried that they were going to try and do you dirty.
Yeah.
And they did and they didn't. Here's the one thing that bothered me the most is that they didn't focus at all on your charitable endeavors. And
that pissed me off.
One of the things that pissed me off was, he talked about you serving day-old brisket, and you were like, no, I don't do that. And then he kind of cut you off. I know what you do with that brisket. You deliver that to police stations. You deliver that to hospitals. You give it, you give that away. So you don't serve that. Do you know what I mean? Like how? And so that made me so mad. I'm like, why would you cut that out? That is really, really important. The amount of stuff that you give away, that you just give away. Like
exactly.
Well, it's like a steak. I could throw another steak on the grill, but that brisket takes 13 hours, and we have a pretty good handle on what we need every day. And so I can't sell it if it's sitting in my walk-in. Yeah. So, I might overdo it, but I also wholesale to other restaurants. So that's fine. I mean, it's like, it's a TV. It was a great opportunity. The exposure, the tearjerker, it's like kind of like Rudy,
You are Rudy with an inordinately long beard. Let me say this. Everything did come together nicely, and something that Ramsey always talks about, which is true, and you knew it, and you guys knew it, and you admitted it. You said it right at the beginning. The menu had gotten too out of hand, and so he always, whatever he does in any of his shows, refines the menu down to what you do the best. And we say all the time, your impossible cheesesteak is our favorite cheesesteak. So the stuff you're making is great. So the refining, how many items now on the menu?
So we went from 73 to 13 and brought it up to 25. And our vegan and vegetarian customers were calling and a lot of that was eliminated. And I couldn't do that. We have such a wide fan base that I had to, bring back the things that work. But it's also, we have a table turning friendly menu now. So if you come in, you're not going to sit there and wait for my buffalo cauliflower, the sea brisket, and all the things that just took time. In takeout, that's fine because I have 45 minutes. I have all the time that we need to make it. But, when you're at a table, you don't want to watch people walking in and out getting takeout, and you're the only table in there. So.
Yeah. No, it all made sense. I'm glad it turned out, and you're getting a good result for it.
And I've said to you guys many times, and I probably sound like a broken record, but it's like, as a mechanic, I got to know Eric Simon and Rodney behind the scenes working on Minerva and just getting to know everybody at the station throughout the years. But it's like I said to you more than once that, you guys always put the community first. And when I opened this business, I my community, if I don't my community doesn't support me, then who is? Like, why try to get people from other towns to come if the locals don't even want to see you? And you guys have always been that inspiration for us, that you can do community work, you can help other people, and you can flourish in the meantime. I mean, I might not get to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all that, but we have had the opportunity to work with Robert Irvine and Ramsey.
That's awesome, man. Well, congratulations on that. And you guys are killing it. Everybody go to Wilson's Secret Sauce and see the new menu and get some of the best barbecue you're going to find.
Absolutely.
And thanks for wearing your Just Saying Institute hat today, Steve.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And thank you to your entire fan base and all the DJs and Brent and Marcus and everybody. Like, just the support that you guys have given us over the years is just tremendous.
Yeah, we get a lot of people that'll come in and be like, I finally made it. I heard from you guys I heard about you guys on MMR.
Love it.
That's terrific.
Well,
You guys are great.
Thanks, Steve.
for all the love.
We love you guys. Take care. Congratulations. Wilson Secret Sauce, our special correspondent on the Connoisseur this morning. I'm very, very happy for
The
him.
celebs are beating a path to get to be part of the Connoisseur now.
All right, let's see if we can get a winner and find out what movie this is from.
Hey, SpaghettiOs. You like SpaghettiOs? Yeah? Dented cans at half price. Microsoft went down 3 points. We got to save some money.
All right, we're going to go to Ryan. Hey, Ryan. Morning, bud.
Good morning, Gadzooks.
Gadzooks. Ryan, what movie is that?
Big Daddy.
Yeah, Big Daddy, correct. Hang on. Got yourself a $50 Acme Markets gift card. Hungry and in a hurry, Acme's Flash Grocery Delivery or Pickup gets you fresh groceries in 30 minutes or less. Fast, fresh, right to your door. Acme Fresh Foods, local flavors. We have another clip to play before we get to the next Connoisseur story, and here it is.
What's happening in Chicago? Ladies, if you are rich and I boned you, could you please meet me at the Nacho Cart? Also, if you are rich and you want to be boned, could you please meet me at the Nacho Cart?
All right, 610-660-9333. Call if you know what movie that's from. Order up. All right, so a group called Data Essential, company that provides food and beverage industry insights, has announced the winners of their 500 awards for 2025. It recognizes the most innovative and beloved restaurant chains in the United States. And the awards include a wide range of categories, from unique menu to best restaurant experience.
So there's like virtually every connoisseur has a riff on this notion. So, but this is as comprehensive as they get. You're saying?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So I'll give you some examples. I'll run down a few of these. The winner of the best healthy chain is Cava.
Cava!
The fast casual restaurant specializing in Mediterranean cuisine serves everything from grain and salad bowls, pita wraps, and fan favorite hot harissa pita chips.
So I used to go to Zoe's Kitchen, and I think a lot of these places have kind of moved into where those were. But it's the same sort of Mediterranean stuff that I love. I have yet to go in and try one, though. They're supposed to be fantastic.
People's Choice Award went to Portillo's. And the chain has the highest number of devoted customers who consistently choose this brand out of loyalty and dedication, not just for convenience.
What's the cuisine?
I don't know. The top award may be for one of America's overall favorite chain, and that goes to Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A's just been crushing it.
Favorite chain. America's most craved. Here are a few of the other categories. America's most craved is In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah.
America's best burger chain went to Shake Shack.
That's your favorite.
That's my favorite.
Are your nipples hard?
America's best chicken chain went to Raising Cane's. America's best coffee chain went to Dutch Brothers.
Okay, wait.
Never even heard of Dutch Brothers.
I feel like
I've heard of a Dutch oven.
I feel like I was at a Dutch Brothers in maybe in Michigan or something like that. Hang on a second. Best chicken chain, but Chick-fil-A won the other award.
Right.
That's okay.
That's America's overall favorite chain is Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
But America's favorite chicken chain is Raising Cane's. Maybe people, categorize them differently. I think Raising Cane's is more, like chicken strips and things like that, or maybe chicken pieces. Anyhow, America's best beverage went to HTO.
Not
familiar with that. America's best restaurant experience, Texas Roadhouse.
Another one of your favorites.
My fave, yep. America's fastest growing chain is Hangry Joe's Hot Chicken and Wings.
Not familiar.
America's most unique restaurant menu goes to Crumble.
Yeah.
And America's value leader goes to Little Caesars. So if you want to, you can do a search on the 500 awards from Data Central and see how some of your favorite places ranked and fell in those categories. All right, we'll see if somebody knows what movie this food clip is from.
What's happening in Chicago? Ladies, if you are rich and I boned you, could you please meet me at the Nacho Card? Also, if you are rich and you want to be boned, would you please meet me at the Nacho Card?
All right, we're going to go to John, see if we can get the answer. John, you're on the air, bud. Good morning.
What's up, bitches?
Yo, man. All right, name that movie, brother.
That is the Ladies' Man.
Ladies' Man. Yep. Hang on a second. Just got yourself a $50 Acme Markets gift card, and you got to check out their flash grocery delivery or pickup. Gets you fresh groceries in 30 minutes or less. All right, let's tee up another one and see if you know what movie this is from.
His digestive system is extremely simple. This processor dispenses a rudimentary paste that sustains his organic system.
Tastes like baby food.
All right, let's see if you know what that is. 610-660-9333. I've decided to add another subcategory into the Connoisseur because from time to time I get multiple stories about this particular product. So it's time to give some love to ice cream.
Ice cream! Ice cream!
All right, so here we go. I have a few different ice cream stories to share. All right, you know what? I'm glad you're playing this because no more chasing jingles down the street because Mr. Softy has gone high tech with a restyled app now available on iOS and Android. You can track the location of over 600 trucks in real time across 18 states from Manhattan to Myrtle Beach.
So if you're in one state and you want to get it from another state, you can plan your road trip accordingly.
That's exactly it.
What's the place down on the shore that you guys talk about that has this app thing, this app tie-in?
Well, it's not an app tie-in. It's Big Top Surfing Sundays. We just have their phone number. So.
You can also track those guys and Monster Cone, I believe, Case.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
See?
Via, I think they have apps because last time Big Top Surfing Sunday stopped by, on the side of it, they have a QR code that allows you can scan that and you can find out how to follow them and wherever they happen to be, which is awesome.
Mr. Softy, I loved Mr. Softy growing up. There is, though, I hope we don't completely eliminate the charm of the little jingle playing through town on a summer's afternoon or whatever, the ice cream man coming through town, that's part of it.
Oh no, they'll still be doing that. I mean, because not everybody's going to have the app, so they want to get people out and about and running to their trucks. So you just open up the app. That's all you got to do. No login required. You can tap a truck and browse the menu to see how long it's been rolling. Not every franchise is on board yet, so there's still little old school mystery, but now your next cone is just a tap away.
We do know for a fact that there are some companies that get in trouble for playing the music. I think you were talking about an area near you, Casey, where somebody was complaining about.
We weren't allowed to have
ice cream trucks. Yeah.
That first season that we got our house in at the shore, I don't know if they had the app available then, but Rochelle and I just were like, let's go find the ice cream truck. And I don't want to go to an ice cream place. I want to find the truck.
Yeah.
And we just drove around, and sure enough, we found them.
Yeah.
Did you use one of those strips to blow out the tires? Or
No. We just pulled over and got ice cream. But Steve, the ones at the shore, because they work at night, they have all kinds of flashing lights and stuff. They're real easy to spot.
Oh my God.
All right. So the original Bomb Pop is turning 70 years old and throwing it back to 1955 with the ultimate nostalgic gift, popsicles for just 5 cents. Now, the reason I threw Bomb Pops in with ice creams is because they also make ice cream Bomb Pop too.
They do.
One that I really liked had chocolate ice cream on the inside, had chocolate coating and like Crispies on it on the outside.
That was, to me, that was my introduction to Bomb Pops. That was the first one I remember.
The classic is the red, white, and blue popsicle.
I hated that.
You hated that, really?
I hated it, yeah.
Oh, man, I love those. So from now until July 30th, 70 lucky fans can score a 12-pack of the iconic red, white, and blue treat for a single shiny nickel by playing a coin spotting game at bombpop.com/70 years and uploading a copy of your receipt. It's a big steal considering that they usually go for around $3.50 a box in store and up to $5 a pop from ice cream trucks. Whether you win or not, the retro vibes are a blast. So you can now do that.
Yesterday was National Bomb Pop Day.
No kidding.
Yeah, in conjunction with this anniversary. Yeah.
First time they were used during a military conflict.
All right, and then one last ice cream story. How to best store your ice cream. The folks at Ben & Jerry's swear by a simple hack to keep your favorite pint of creamy, nice, and frost-free.
All right, lay it on me.
Here's it, and I never would have thought of this. You flip it upside down before you put it in the freezer.
What?
This trick will help prevent freezer burn by stopping moisture from settling on top and ruining your treat.
There is a laughable concept that ice cream would remain in my freezer long enough
I know.
to develop any sort of long-term situation.
Every now and then it does at my house, and you open up the freezer like, oh,
you know what?
I totally forgot we had ice cream in here. And then you open it up, and it's got all those ice crystals all over. And it's like, no!
Why it happens in our house occasionally is that we buy too much, or we buy some and then forget that we have it in the freezer, and then we go out and we buy more, a fresh batch or whatever. And so, Steve, the stuff that's been in the freezer for a little bit longer, that ends up getting the crystals on the top of it.
Nick,
but I love this idea. This is brilliant.
Yeah,
By chance, you ever find like a multi-gallon container of ice cream?
Yeah, well, that was Preston's discard, but
oh yeah,
we finally got rid of that. Had to chuck that whole thing.
It was a gigantic thing of ice cream.
4.5 gallons worth.
It was gigantic. It was just massive.
I mean,
never seen anything like that.
It boggles them. Why I've never seen. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yep. All right, so try that. Put it in upside down. Yep. And supposedly, if it stays in there too long, you're not going to have to worry about that freezer burn.
When you take it out and serve
idea.
it, do you put it right side up again?
I think you would need to do that, yes. All right, let's play the clip, see if you know what movie this one's from.
His digestive system is extremely simple. This processor dispenses a rudimentary paste that sustains his organic system.
Tastes like baby food.
All right, we will go to Nancy. See if we can get the answer. Hi there, Nancy.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nancy. What movie is that from?
Would that be RoboCop?
It would be.
Well done, Nancy.
Nice job.
Huge RoboCop fan.
Hang on a second, Nancy. We're going to give you a $50 Acme Markets gift card. If you're hungry in a hurry, you got to try Acme's Flash Grocery Delivery. Pick up and go as well. Get you fresh groceries in 30 minutes or less. Fast, fresh, right to your door. Acme. Fresh foods. Local flavors. All right, one more movie clip, and let's see if you know what this is from.
Okay, I got another one. What's worse? The cable goes out, and all you're left with is synchronized swimming on ESPN.
You're stuck on the Bay Bridge in traffic, and you just had 2 really strong cups of coffee and 3 bran muffins.
All right, 610-660-9333. Actually, that's not the last clip. We have one more after that to play, too. Let's see if you know the answer, and in the meantime, we'll get another story. Order up. All right, so Pizza Hut is rekindling the old age pineapple on pizza debate, but with a new twist. So I'm going to begin by saying I don't hate Hawaiian pizza. I kind of like it. I don't order it, but if there is some available with pineapple and
I don't like the ham,
Canadian bacon or ham or whatever on there, I'm all in on it. I like it.
It's my dad's favorite.
Okay.
Anytime we ever order pizza and my dad's around, we always order Hawaiian pizza.
So he may be intrigued by this, Nick. I never really thought about this, but they've added something to it. They've added a spicy twist. It's called the Spicy Hawaiian Lovers Pizza. And it's not only loaded with the classic pineapple ham duo, but comes with jalapenos and red chili flakes.
Yeah, he's probably out. He's not a spicy guy, but I would give this a shot. I love Hawaiian pizza too, so I'd give this a shot.
I think that might be a nice addition to it.
So you're pairing that with pineapple jalapeno?
Yeah.
Huh.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can do spicy and sweet.
Hawaiian pizza is not anything I like. So, but I mean, and people listen. I would never kill someone for eating it if that makes a statement.
Okay. It's part of a limited time Hut Lovers lineup that also includes meat packed, veggie loaded, and double pepperoni pies. all for just $12.99. There are some people, and you know this, Steve, that are vehemently against the pineapple pizza creation.
You have sinned. You placed the devil's fruit on your pizza.
But it's time to drop that argument because pizza, you have nacho pizza now, taco pizza, cheeseburger pizza, barbecue chicken pizza.
Breakfast pizza is to me neck and neck.
Right.
Breakfast pizza has virtually none of the elements that constitute pizza on it, if any.
Right.
So I put my arms around the world of pizza.
I just don't like Canadian bacon, and I'm not a big fan of ham. I would probably do a variation of a Hawaiian pizza with like pork roll, because pork roll is as close to ham as you can kinda get.
You could do bacon as well. I mean, it's going to taste different, but it's pork, So, but you're not a ham fan?
No, not really. I can do like a honey baked ham. I don't mind that as much, but
I despise hams. However,
you despise ham?
Well, here's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a baked, like a honey. Can't stand it. However, sliced thin deli ham
like
and
an imported
cheese,
ham.
I love.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. Like an imported ham, thinly sliced, slicely thin, thin slicely.
Both of you guys don't like thicker cut.
Nope.
Like ham steaks.
Do
and
not
things
like
that.
it.
See, I dig that.
My default sandwich for years was ham and cheese.
Yeah.
But you put me near a large intact ham, I'll gut you.
I love it.
I do too.
I
Nick.
love a ham.
Yeah.
Ham.
Oh my God.
With some rye bread.
You remember that, right? It was just a clip we were watching on TV, and my brother and I. Sorry, this is so obscure, but it was this lady that was being interviewed, and I'll see if I can find it. But the interviewer was like, they were talking about Thanksgiving dinner and Easter dinner, and she was clearly very old and senile. And the interviewer asked her what she wanted to have for Easter dinner this year, and she said, ham. And he said, anything else on the meal?
Ham.
We need to get her into rye bread guy.
I know,
together.
I'd like it to not hurt when I have a bowel movement. Well, we were asking about food, but we'll take that.
Sure. Yep. So Pizza Hut's iconic Book It program is now an app as well, rewarding young readers with free pizza all summer long.
Do you guys like Pizza Hut? You default to it? I don't.
I don't have one near me, and so I haven't had one in a while, but last time I recall liking it.
Here's the deal. Like school pizza. Mm-hmm. School pizza is terrible, and yet it's fine.
Yeah.
So Pizza Hut can get the job done. We happen to have a number of really great mom and pop pizza places in the area.
Yeah.
So you'll go
my
with that.
default is a mom and pop place, but I have been to pizza. There's a Pizza Hut in Rio Grande in New Jersey, and I've been to that one within the last year and a half or so.
Is it like a classic
it's not a sit
architecture?
down. No,
all right.
No, it's in a strip of stores. It's basically just takeout. Takeout delivery.
All right, so anyhow, you can try the new Spicy Hawaiian Lovers Pizza. All right, let's see if somebody knows what food clip this movie is, what movie this food clip is from. Here we go.
Okay, I got another one. What's worse? The cable goes out, and all you're left with is synchronized swimming on ESPN.
You're stuck on the Bay Bridge in traffic, and you just had 2 really strong cups of coffee and 3 bran muffins.
All right, we'll go to Brian, see if he knows. Hey, Brian, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, good morning to see you, Brian. What movie is that from?
So I married an axe murderer.
Yeah, So I Married an Axe Murderer. You are correct. Hang on, bud. Get your information. We're going to give you a $50 Acme Markets gift card, so congratulations to you. Casey's saying we got to wrap it up there, right?
Yeah, Billy's here. He's in the Acme Lounge.
All right. So, all right, we'll do the other clip and the other story at another time. But as we take a break, here's what I'd like to do. I would like to, first let's wrap up the Connoisseur, Casey. You got to get into it.
Yes. Leave us hanging.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We got to play the outro music. I would like to give to caller number 23 a pair of tickets to see Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler is going to be performing at the Wells Fargo Center September 19th. And tickets go on sale today at noon at Ticketmaster.com. But we'll take that caller. Caller 22-215-263. No, that's the old number. 610-660-9333. And you will get those tickets. And we have more to give away before the show is up. So I guarantee you that. We're going to take a break. And as Casey said, Billy Gardell, who is in our Acme Lounge, will be joining us, not on the Xfinity mobile guest line. He will be here in the studio with us. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
Would it be better to keep a couple of blank checks in your wallet?
Oh, man. I don't know. Maybe. I'm going to go to some calls and I'll come back to a couple of other ideas. Well, actually, let me get to these ideas because some of them have to do with people, what people are saying and when they call in. So another one says you can do a make a do-it-yourself bidet.
So this was something I was wondering about because, listen, you've now become subhuman. But you've got to do everything you can to clean yourself properly and leave there with some peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
So do you then you have to think, okay, the water in the toilet?
Right.
Right?
All right. So
is that where we're going?
No, not at first. It says if you happen to have a bottle of water on you,
all right,
consider using it to clean up without paper. Water is pretty effective at this, which is why billions of people around the world use it instead of or in combination with toilet paper. So
this
it could be a choice.
For me, I always go to the bathroom and I bring a pressure washer with me.
Oh, good call.
So I would use that first.
If you had to, I think you can flush the toilet.
Yes, exactly.
And then you have a fresh bowl of water.
Yes, exactly.
You're going to have to use your hand.
Yes, but you could wash your hands once you got out.
You can wash your hands as soon as you get out.
In fact, you dive over to that sink.
So you that is a one of the last ditch.
I mean, listen,
desperation moves.
Can I say I think we're saving lives here today?
We are. I think
we're saving lives because these are legitimate. When you encounter it, you're going to say, oh, this is frivolous talk until you find yourself perhaps, and God, I hope it doesn't happen later on today, having to manually bidet your ass with toilet water.
Well, that's how some cultures will do it.
Absolutely.
I mean, my friend she spent a long time in India. And I think that's maybe why they don't ever shake hands with their left hand, because that is your ass wiping hand.
There are some cultures, yes, that they use their hand for quote unquote grooming.
Your AWH.
And that is, what is that?
Your ass wiping hand.
Your AWH.
But they'll have
is that your AWH?
It's your
I'm
aw.
sorry.
Your aw for short.
I don't want to shake people's hands anyway. Now I really don't want to with AWH. Now that I know about that.
Well, it's just the left hand. The right hand is usually okay.
No, that's completely fine.
That has COVID on it.
Splash it up.
Yeah, that's your BTH, your ball tickling hand.
Yeah, Kathy.
All right, and then your BTH. And then finally, and this is the one a lot of people are calling and texting about, sacrifice your wardrobe.
Yeah.
Oh, get the hell out of here.
No.
What?
No.
This is the most dumbest story ever. This is not happening.
Did you not just hear
Kathy
saved lives?
People
honestly
agreeing that we're saving lives?
Honestly, what?
What would you do?
This isn't going to happen.
She would wait. She would stay.
Such a denier.
She would stay in the stall until the building was demolished.
Let's say you had an emergency, I got to get to the toilet right now. I have no choice. And you,
I would.
You're going to crap your pants, is what I'm saying.
I'm not going to crap. I don't have situations where I'm going to crap my pants. That doesn't happen.
She's not realistic.
No, I am realistic. I don't have situations
can will it to
where I'm
happen.
gonna crap my pants.
She will make it go back up.
There are times,
but I will tell you because the
What if you're sick?
Well, hold on. All the time. If I go into a public restroom, I check first if there's toilet paper, because not for what you guys are talking about, just going to the bathroom, urinating.
It's sage advice.
If I don't have toilet paper and I have wet underwear, it ruins my day. It's so uncomfortable.
Okay.
So I check every time I go in here. If I'm at Target, wherever I am, a concert, whatever it is, I will check when I go in the stall if there's toilet paper there.
So she's saying something that really is the first step.
Well, yeah.
That you and while you may not think about it, make sure you check. Now, this is obviously we've gotten past that, and you didn't. But you can head all this off of the past if you make sure that you have. And if it's not in your stall or whatever, go to the stall that has it, or work out your things ahead of time. But Kathy, you're in a situation, as where Preston said. Let's say you have, you just got food poisoning. It came on you like a bolt of lightning, and Would you?
Apparently that has never happened to her in her 30
No, and
years.
to
How would
go
you
in-
do?
No,
How would you extricate yourself from the scenario?
But that would be a pretty unfortunate string of events that you all of a sudden have food poisoning and no toilet paper and you're out of your house.
Yes.
Like, I just don't see
And you're
it
in a
happening.
foreign country.
And listen, I understand it might happen to some people.
You're
but
in India.
Hopefully that never happens to me.
And you've sprained your AWH.
So anyhow, if it did happen to you, Kathy, you might consider this. Okay.
All right. Yes.
Using,
Always wear something you don't like.
using your socks. And this goes in kind of like an order of what you might want to go to.
Let me ask you: Have you ever, under the stall, pulled the sock off someone in the stall next to you?
I need this.
Yes,
I've not.
I need this badly.
I'm going to be taking this.
I mean, this has happened to me in my home. It's not even a private, restroom or I'm
You
sorry,
really have no
a public
excuse to
restroom.
wipe your clothing in your own home.
But I have gone into the bathroom, sat down, started my business. Oh my God, there's no toilet paper.
Right.
Because apparently I'm the only one in the entire household who replaces any toilet paper.
So clothing, let's go the hierarchy, Preston.
Socks.
Socks,
Start with that.
number one.
Says your best choice once you've hit this bottom because they come in pairs. And once you're done cleaning up, you can carefully insert the dirty sock inside its mate, making it easy and relatively sanitary for the garbage. So you could take your other sock, you put the dirty sock in the clean sock, throw it in the garbage can,
and you're done.
And then you're good to go. And listen, you were going to lose the other sock anyway because it's pairs.
You look very sort of stylish in a Bruno Maglia, right? Maglia, what do they call it? Hey, so
would you use the inside of the sock or the outside of the sock?
I would
inside, softer.
So you can still wear them.
I think the inside is a little softer than
a sock wouldn't be my first choice. I think I would use
suit jacket?
A suit jacket first. Because I hate suit jackets.
All right, next would be underwear.
Yeah, I would probably go underwear first.
Reasoning that your underwear, your underpants are going to be ruined anyway if you do nothing, maybe make their sacrifice really count. But Casey, dude, I wear Tommy John underwear. I like good underwear.
I hear you.
So sue me because I spend a lot of money on my underwear, but they're really expensive.
Wait a second,
though. I
though.
want to ruin my underwear.
He does make a good point, Casey. I would actually say that a good pair like Tommy John, and I agree with you 1,000%, Preston, how comfortable they are. I think they might be softer than your socks, than your average socks.
You should really
but
try
they're way more expensive, so I wouldn't want to do that.
You should really try Fruit of the Loom breathables. They're great. They're very, very comfortable, and they're not as expensive. But the sock is dirty. It's around your.
Have you not understood the parameters of what's happening here?
I understand.
Yeah, this is no time for that
you can
pie in the sky thinking that you have.
You can worry about cleanup later.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, it says using your undershirt. If you're wearing an undershirt or layers of shirts, maybe you don't need all of them.
Probably not. Well, what about the tie?
Ties can be really expensive.
Doesn't matter.
So it all depends.
This is your human dignity. How much is that worth?
But given a sock over a tie, I'd do the sock. Socks are cheap.
All right.
You know what I
What
mean?
if you take the tie?
Yeah.
And Garrett, the guy in the stall next to you,
and steal his socks.
Exactly. And there you go.
Now, here it says one final note. Whatever you wind up using in the situation, with the exception of toilet seat covers, do not flush it down the toilet.
No, horrible.
Even paper products like paper towels or tissues shouldn't be flushed because they won't disintegrate like toilet paper. Tissues are designed to withstand explosive sneezes, after all, and persist for a long time, clogging time in our sewer systems, for example. And if you do have to resort to one of these desperate measures, steel yourself and walk the remnants to the garbage.
They have left out hats and weaves as possible
What was the
wiping
last
material.
one?
Hats and weaves.
Oh, weaves.
Yeah.
Talk about expensive.
Steve, listen, the things that people will flush down the toilets. I have a friend of mine who No. He works for Public Works.
Okay.
And there was a pump house near this housing development, and he said because there was like big time backups and stuff, and they had to go put in a whole new system. He said you wouldn't believe what he found that people flush down the toilets, like baseballs, lacrosse
baseballs,
dildos.
Really?
Like, yes.
Yeah,
people
I remember
are
you
flushing
telling me that.
these things down the toilet.
That's the garbage disposal for your dildos, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, by the way, a lot of texts and calls coming. This text says, I once wiped my ass with a $20 bill when caught without any toilet paper while drinking at a party. Took the same $20 bill, washed it off, and then bought more beer with it.
Oh, God. Grody.
I could not.
They wash it up. Would you throw away the money?
I would.
I'd wash it off.
I would. No, I would. I would. I just couldn't bring myself to recirculate that into the system.
Once you clean it, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go to Brian. Let me go to some calls here real quick. Hey, Brian, good morning.
Good morning.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
I'm great.
I was on a job site once, and I was about an hour and a half away from where I work, and I went into the porta potty, and there was nothing. So it was a chilly day. I had a sweatshirt and a T-shirt on, and I had to use my T-shirt.
That's absolutely fine.
Brian, did you realize before you sat down or?
No.
Oh, no, it was afterwards.
You know,
that's the thing. That's it.
That's the point at which you've made a critical error. That's why I think for our bathroom here and Brian on job sites, when you have the porta potty, there should be a small rack of clothing.
MMR.
All right, thanks, Nick. So, our next guest is going to be debuting at Soul Joel's tonight, 8 o'clock. You can get tickets at souljoels.com. By the way, and you know him from years on Mike and Molly and Bob Hart's Abishola and his many appearances on the Preston and Steve show.
About it.
Please welcome Billy Gardell.
Hey, look at that. All right, golf clap. I love that. Thank you. I just got it. How are you, boys? Thank you for having me back.
Always.
It's a pleasure.
Been many years.
Yeah.
Many years since I was in the studio. We actually talked for interviews over the years, and you guys have always been great to me. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Well, our pleasure. We were talking before we came on, and I said, I remember you coming in here in a pretty big, like a badass black leather jacket, and you described the thing, Preston, I think that we all have happened with our wives. Would you please stop wearing that thing? And that's what happened
I
with you.
wore that thing down to where it was like paper mache. My wife's like, enough. I think she actually took it at one point and tossed it. Yeah, you know how they eventually they just go, this is leaving. And then you're like, have you seen my? I don't know where it's at. Liar, liar.
By the way, Billy, speaking of wardrobe,
Yes, sir.
Are you done buying clothes that fit now?
I dropped 173.
Yeah.
And I went from a young Jackie Gleason to an old Paul Neumann. I'm in the color of money phase in my career now.
All right.
But
he won an Oscar.
It's been a journey, man. I still don't recognize myself, which is pretty wild. The only thing, it's weird because I got my anonymity back. I walk around, but nobody recognizes me.
Okay.
That's kind of cool.
But clothes are a big part of
when
it.
I talk, I mean, my shirts used to cover the mound at Dodger Stadium. And now I pick stuff up and I go, that's not going to fit. Hey, it fits. Wow.
So the thing is, and anyone who goes through it knows you kind of keep a couple things in reserve in case there's a bit of a slide.
No, I don't give myself any safety nets because I don't want to go back.
It's the way to do it.
I did keep one thing as a reminder, though. I think my highest was 380, 375, 380, something like that. And I kept one of those big Jackie Gleason suits I used to have, and that just hangs in my closet as a reminder, like, hey.
You got to sell it to David Byrne?
Yeah, exactly. Get him in. This is not my house. Yeah, exactly. That'd be perfect.
I do, when I find myself sliding, because my weight fluctuates from time to time, I will take a piece of clothing that has become too tight for me to wear, and I hang it up in my closet in front of me. So that's the first thing I see when I walk in every day. And that's my goal. I leave it. I need a visual goal of some type.
100.
And it works.
Yeah, you still got to change everything. You got to change your brain.
Yeah.
I tell the way I did it was. Because this gets misconstrued on the internet because everything on the internet is trash anyway. and thank you for those of you that are listening today. You still have a brain and an attention span, and we appreciate you here. But, when you make a change like I did bariatric surgery 4 years ago, but you still have to change everything you eat, the way you exercise, all that stuff. Because people always ask me how I did it, and they go, "Oh, you were on Ozempic." I was at the very beginning of Ozempic, but that was for type 2 diabetes. They hadn't figured out if they increased the dose that it was a weight loss drug. I didn't know anything. If I'd have known that, I would have stayed on that.
Yeah.
But I had some medical stuff I just had to change, so I did it that way. But I always tell people, it's just anything you do is a window to change, but if you don't change the way you think, you're going to gain it back. It's just so I just try to be pretty strict with what I do every day. And, the fat Hulk is still in there.
Is that what you call the fat Hulk?
He is. He's in there at any time. My eyes turn red.
I'll tell you what.
I'll be cutting the carrot now here. Pizza! No, we're not doing that right now. Stop it.
Preston is really, really good at somehow harnessing that willpower that he needs to. And I know because I've yo-yoed up and down so many times, especially over the last.
Well, that's the fat guy dance, like we were talking about in the lobby. Down 30, up 40, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
I was in that cycle forever. Forever.
And you were kind of on the precipice, right? Health-wise.
Oh yeah, no, I was in trouble when I was at my highest. Eventually, I got. At one point I had type 2 diabetes. My blood pressure was crazy. My cholesterol was crazy. My resting heartbeat was like 138.
Wow.
That's sitting still.
Wow.
Now it's 68.
Yeah.
So I changed all that stuff. And what did it for me was it was a perfect storm for me. We had when I got to the point where I had to do something drastic, like I said, I had developed type 2 diabetes. I had blood pressure problems, cholesterol problems, pulse problems, heart, all this stuff. And then COVID hit. That first wave of COVID. I don't know. Did that happen here? I have to ask. Everywhere I go, I have to ask. I don't know.
Some states it didn't.
So, but when they brought up those earmarks for the people that were in the most danger for that first wave, like sleep apnea, smoker, asthma, overweight, type 2, I was like, bingo! I got them all. Yeah. So I had to make a drastic change to survive. And so I didn't do this to look better. I just did it because I was in trouble. Yeah. And gratefully now I'm not on any medicine, got no trouble with my diabetes or anything.
That's great.
The type 2 went away, basically. And so now, I got a new lease on life.
All right, so how has that affected your comedy?
Man, a lot.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because I used to be the guy that I could walk into a place like, get out of the way. Now I'm like, I'm sorry, did I bump you? So the energy changed on stage a little bit, and I had to find my footing again. It was a challenge because I didn't take up as much space as I used to. I just didn't have that gravitational force. So the first few months back on stage, because I had taken 3 years off of stand-up, I thought I was done. And then I had some friends annoy me back on stage that I'm grateful for. I had Christopher Titus, and, Steve Byrne, Alonzo Bowden, Jay Leno, and Ian Bagg, and a few others like, what are you doing? Get it. So I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm at peace. Leave me alone. I'm done.
Right.
And then I went down with my wife to Irvine to see Ian Bagg perform, and he was having one of those nights where he's just slicing the audience in half.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was working, just crushing it.
Yeah.
And I got that weird twitch in my shoulder, and I looked at my wife. I go, oh, no. She goes, no. I go, yeah. I think I got to go back. So I want to come back and see if there was another hour in there. And
did she try to bargain by letting you have that coat back?
No, the coat was gone. She had no bargaining chips.
No bargaining chips.
She couldn't bribe me. So.
No, it's interesting about that, and you talk about just the sheer physicality of what you were, and you're not. Your legend wasn't that you were a brawler, but you were.
No, but I was just this big force. I was a big, loud force.
Yeah.
And it's so that changed a little bit, and then and like I said, your movement, your confidence changes, and then I had to get that back, and then slowly but surely it came back, and I'm kind of finding my way again, which is cool.
It is interesting when you think about the whole. The weight loss industry and all the stuff with Ozempic and Mounjaro and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And yet I remember seeing, and I know it wasn't accurate, but I saw an ad, I think it was you, and it clearly faked, or they had AI'd you or whatever, talking about the gummy bears.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude, that's why I tell people I'm just very open with what I did, because the internet, again, it's just all trash. They AI'd my voice. They said I ate magic gummy bears to lose weight. Now, I shouldn't have to say that's fake. But there's always one slow person that will walk up to me and go, did the gummy bears work? And I'm always like, dude, gummy bears is what got me in trouble in the first place. Carry the one, man. Stay with me here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty open about all of it. So because it's your only defense,
Well, and then also
they did that to everybody who lost weight, and they did it to Kelly Clarkson. They did it to right away. And then the misery online makes us forget we're human beings.
Yeah.
Like when I was heavy, the stuff I'd get online is he needs to lose some weight, and then I lose the weight and like I think he's sick. Like what are you just sitting in your basement looking for misery? Is that it?
You didn't lose the weight the right way.
Yeah, that's it. There's no wrong way. Just lose the weight. That's it. That's the game. Get out of prison. That's the game.
Well, going back to like just taking care of yourself right before we started the interview, we were playing a Tom Petty song, and you were at his last show. And I was at his last show in Philadelphia, which was about a month before he died.
Right.
And Tom was not well at the end of his life. You know, he was not in great shape.
He had a fractured, something was fractured in his hip, which is why he was taking some pain medicine. and
that's
stuff.
exactly right. Yeah.
And, I'm very working class and I'm very Irish. I don't give myself a lot of stuff. I started this whole thing with a pen and a notebook. My wife and kids live in a bubble. Those two, they get whatever they want. But, I'm pretty Irish. I'm like, I'll just go to work. The sun is for others to look at. But the thing is that the two things I do allow myself is musical outings and first class travel. I'm never going back ever.
And it's not outlandish.
Ever again. I made it past the curtain. I'm never going back. But I go to the Hollywood Bowl. That's my favorite venue in the world to see shows. It's California sun, the stars, the evening goes down, you're outdoors. The legends have all performed at the Hollywood Bowl. I mean, the energy in there is just killer. So I park up in the valet area and the nice area up there, and I'm pretty good friends with those guys. And I know one of the security guards up there, and as we pulled in that night, we was just saying hello, and my wife and I were there, and he said, he goes, Mr. Petty's not looking good tonight. He looks ill.
Wow.
I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah, I hope he's okay. So then we go in and we watch the show, and he was electric. The show was unbelievable. And then the next day he had passed away, man. And you would have never known it from the performance he gave. But, it happened.
It was
the next day.
a shock. I mean, I talk about one of the great experiences of my concert-going life was being, the venue here in New Jersey, same sort of amphitheater, setup. And we had generationally from young teenagers all the way up, Tom Petty, and I'm out on the lawn with my wife, arms around her, and everyone is singing all the songs together.
Man.
It was like, and that was a Petty concert. That's what you get.
That's why Neil Young's off my list. He's off my list.
Yeah.
I used to adore that guy, and he finally came to the bowl. I got tickets, paid a fortune for him. That guy didn't sing one song we could sing. I swear to God, it sounded like he wrote the album on the way over to the venue. I'm like, Neil, you can't play Cinnamon Girl or Down by the River. Can we just sing with you one time?
No.
You know who else does that crap? Dylan.
That's what I
just saw
said.
Dylan. And what he'll do is it'll be 10 minutes into a song, and you're like, oh, this is Route 66, and you rearrange it. I want to sing with you.
We had Rob Zombie on the show one time. Preston goes, and we're interviewing. We've had him on a couple of times. He's great.
Right.
And so Preston says to him, so you're going to do some new stuff tonight? And he goes, no. People want to hear that. They want to hear this.
Give us 3 or 4 new ones. That's when we'll go pee or get a beer. Come on, give us a break, man. That's why I love Bruce.
Yeah.
You just sing.
And I forgot who was saying it, but it's a comedy and music are polar opposites.
Right.
Yeah. If you have a special, people have seen it. If they come to see you, you do that stuff, they're walking out of
That's
there.
exactly
if you're
right.
a band and they know all these hits, and if you don't play any of them, they're out of there.
That's exactly 100.
So I saw Dylan and Neil Young. I went to Old Cella.
Oh, my God.
So Old Cella at the...
Old Cella?
Yeah,
That's
so
what they called
it was in the Coachella Valley, but it was 3 nights of concerts, and it was the Stones, The Who, Paul McCartney, Pink Floyd,
Wow.
Dylan, and
Wow,
Neil
what a
Young.
show.
Yes, it was amazing. So Dylan comes out, opens up with a Rainy Day Woman. I'm like, okay, he's going to... And then proceeded to do 2 hours of stuff. I had no clue what it was.
that's
At
right,
one
man.
point, he was doing Tangled Up in Blue, and I didn't know it was Tangled Up in Blue.
Dude, it made me so mad.
I
I was screaming at Neil Young. Dude,
So
come on!
Counting Crows, and I love Counting Crows.
Love the Counting Crows.
But in concert, no.
Well, Adam changes the melodies.
Changes it up. Yeah, we want
Too
to
much.
sing with you. It's the joy you bring us.
Yeah,
Let us have some of that.
Yeah, you want to say, I'm sorry you're bored with it, but we as consumers of your art want to see it.
Because music is usually a timepiece.
Yeah.
The right song can take you to a moment in your life, and we want to feel that when we go. And I love that you're writing new stuff, but give me 3 or 4 bangers that I can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, speaking of you and your line of work in stand-up, which is your first love, you were just saying, as you produce, are you currently working on a new special?
I'm working on a new hour. Yeah, I'm about halfway there. So when I came back, I I had to do a bunch of old stuff just to get back on stage. And then the process starts, and you start finding the threads of what you. When I do, I'm slow. Like some guys sit down and write at a computer, and they're very prolific. I wish I was. I'm not. I'm a guy scribble something in a notebook, and then I kind of work it out on stage. And so I'm probably at half new and half greatest hits. And so as a new one comes in that I like, I take an old one out, and that forms the new hour. And the way I do it is I do it like a football game, quarter. So first 15 is going to be about something, second 15. And I now have those pieces, so now it's just a matter of filling in, and that's why I'm out touring now. And hopefully I'll get to do a special next year.
You have such a casual on-stage presentation. The stuff is sharply written, though.
Yeah, so, I try to be grounded.
Yeah. Are you the kind? Do you, at this point, even so, it's your sort of second birth in the world of stand-up? Do you all the muscle memory come back, or is there a bit of sweating it out?
I think a little bit of both. Yeah. Definitely, when I came back, there was a sweating it out period. Like the not doing. One thing about stand-up, it's like golf. If you put that club down, for 2 months, you're rusty. And I was on the bench for 3 years. Yeah. So it took probably 4 or 5 months to get up to where I can hit the ball again good. And now I'm there. And that took a minute.
It takes some balls. You had not one, but, you had two.
Who does that happen to?
With one of the greatest showrunners in TV behind you both times. Yep. So, and then other shows that you've obviously done. That shift... back to stand up. Let me ask you, and just with the physical shift, we had, Rebel Wilson was talking about how when she dropped weight, the roles, people weren't seeing her that way anymore, and the roles dried up. What's the situation with you right now? You said you might be going into a new.
Well, I lost my weight during the second sitcom, which was Bob Hart's Abishola. I did the surgery over the third season summer, and then people who watched that show kind of saw my weight go down.
Right.
For those 2 years. But then there's a pocket of people that just saw Mike and Molly that when they see me now, it's like, you're thin, you're old. I'm like, that was 15 years ago, Jeff. Like, But it is definitely it's a shift physically and mentally. And but it's again, you got to keep growing as an artist. And this, yes, the roles do slow down because, Hollywood sees when you do something successful, they see you as that.
It's the legend, right?
So you have to go and do different things to show them you can do other things. I just did an independent film where I played a gambling addict who's like a burned out comic from the 1980s. It's on Amazon now. It's called The Vortex. It was a little indie film I did. But now is the time I'm trying to showcase, I can do this too. I can do this now too. But you got to kind of show them before they'll go with it.
No, I hear you.
I want to ask you an acting question, Billy.
Sure.
So see if you can tell me what is in common with all of these credits.
Okay.
King of Queens, Yes Dear, Heist, My Name is Earl, Once Upon a Time in Venice, Extended Family, Tune In With Me. You were in all of those.
Well, yeah, what is in common with all those? Trying to think. Is it a person?
Well, other than you were the person, then do you want the answer?
Yeah.
Every one of those credits, you played a person named Bill or Billy.
Yeah. Really? For a while there, I was like, do they think I'm too stupid to answer to anything else? I was Billy and everything. I guess I just look like a Billy. That's right. Billy Kellner, Billy. A lot of that is because I knew the producers.
Okay.
The King of Queens one was a random one. That was the first guest starring part I ever did, and Kevin James was great with me, and Patton Oswalt, who I just cannot say enough about that guy's brilliance. Yeah. I mean, he is just one of the best to do it, and such a cool human. They were great, and I'd known them from stand-up before I got on there, and that just happened to be Billy. But with Yes Dear, I'm good friends with Greg Garcia, who was the executive producer of that show.
And My Name is Earl.
And My Name is Earl, and he put me on that one, too, and he just put Billy in there. And then my friend Rob Cullen wrote Once Upon a Time in Venice, and he's like, hey, do you want to come down and scream at Bruce Willis while he's naked? I was like, yeah, I'm not doing nothing, sure. And so he put me down as Billy, and then in The Heist, those were the same producers. So they kind of knew me, and I think they just, it fits because I was always a last name guy in high school. You know how there's a few last name guys? Yeah. So I was always, where's Gardell? Yeah. Gardell had that. So I guess that thing just kind of carried over for the people in Pittsburgh,
You played Tom Parker
I did, man.
Right.
I'm very proud of that performance, actually. It was a short-lived series on CMT. It was directed by Roland Joffe. And we did the story of Sun Records, which was Sam Phillips. He brought rock and roll actually he gave a place for rock and roll to be born because it was a mixture of church music, gospel, and the Delta blues. And he was kind of the convergence of that.
It's a fascinating story.
It's an incredible story. And then the $1 Million Quartet there was Elvis Presley, Carl Perkins, Johnny Cash, and Jerry Lee Lewis. And I played Colonel Parker, who was at the time just a con man who'd come over here and was trying to put together his thing. And to get to play that was great because my dad was a huge Elvis fan. So, and I'm actually in Graceland now. They have across from Graceland, they have the car museum.
Yeah,
no kidding.
They put our mock-up of Sun Studios over there, the set. And
No kidding.
There's a poster of the Drake Milligan, who's become a country star, who played Elvis. And then next to it is me as Colonel Parker. And what a treat to play that because my dad was such an Elvis. Like, my dad was the only guy I ever knew. I said this before a million times, but he's the only guy I know who hated the Beatles. Because, and I quote, those hippies knocked Elvis off the throne. And so he was an Elvis. So for him to get to see that was great. It was a great, it was some of the best work I've done. Nobody saw it because it was on CMT. It's streaming now on Paramount, but the kids who played the quartet were phenomenal.
I watched a clip,
it's a really good show. And CMT got the price tag, and they said, well, let's go back to shows where people catch fish with their arms. But that's the world we're living in now. And I'm very proud of that work.
I never watch anything on CMT if I'm scrolling through the guide to see what movies are on, because I'm still that person. I still scroll and just find movies and jump in. And if I see it's like, Trading Spaces is on. It's on CMT. I'm like, that'll be like 5 hours long.
That's what they do. They
put a gazillion commercials.
Exactly. You take a simple little short circuit is like
it's now the Godfather Coda.
Jesus Christ! It's like, come on. They just jam it full of stuff.
By the way, that museum across the street from Graceland is just as cool as Graceland.
It is, man. It's got all his cars in there and a bunch of other stuff. It's really cool.
There's the walk a mile in my shoes, or there's a documentary about. I learned and gained such an appreciation for Elvis just by going through that museum.
It's pretty amazing to do what he did. You know, the Colonel never let him leave America because the Colonel was afraid he'd get deported. So that's why he kept Elvis. And Elvis was still a worldwide act. Which was amazing.
Where was the Colonel from?
I think it was Holland. He was Dutch.
Yeah, no kidding.
And when I played him, I actually got a couple nice comments online that people liked mine better than Tom Hanks's, which blew me away. But I made mine more fun. I think he just played a stoic, dry guy.
Right.
But what the difference was when I went down there, I talked to the head of the CEO of Graceland and some of the Memphis Mafia who all knew the Colonel. And they said, you have to play him with a gleam in his eye because he did all these horrid things, but he made you think it was a good idea. And he couldn't have done that if he wasn't a great con man.
I mean, the story, I read a book years ago about him, decades ago, and he would do things like take sparrows and paint them yellow and
he's out of his mind.
Canary. I mean, like he was the ultimate con man.
Oh, he was the first guy that, there you go. He was the first guy that, he was the first guy to hold the concert longer when it was hot, and then he would sell fans and lemonade before he'd let the acts go. Like any way to make money he could, he would. And he was a huge gambling fiend too.
Yes. If you're just joining us, we're talking to Billy Gardell, who's going to be at Soul Joel's tonight in Pottstown, 8 o'clock. You can get tickets at souljoels.com. We were just looking at clips from
that's so cool.
The
How'd
movie.
you guys get that?
We've got our buddy Sam in the other room pulling those things up.
Sam, you got to send that to me. That's really cool.
There was a shot of you naked in a bathtub.
Yeah, that one wasn't easy.
I was going to say.
That was not easy on the eyes.
Is that the most naked you've been?
I was, man.
Okay.
And I had to. It was such a weird scene to shoot. I get pounded by the loan sharks. Find me in the tub and they just beat me bloody.
Wow.
And I had to do that scene, and man, that was scary as a fat guy. But you know what was cool, man? I'd gotten along with the camera guys so well, and they knew I was nervous and scared to do that. Because, dude, you need something funny. You need the bad guy. I'm your guy. But nobody's saying, get Gardell in here for a romantic scene. So I was really nervous about that. But the camera guys were so cool. The two of them took their shirts off and put their cameras back on. They were out of shape, too. They're like, we're with you, Bill. Go ahead.
So as an actor, when you're working on something, there's going to be some, and you're going to be portrayed as unflattering.
Yeah.
Can you talk to the director about that and say,
I
hey?
think you know that going in because you read the script and you know that this is part of it. And we talked about that scene, and it was real. It really happened. He got beat bloody in a tub for the money he owed. And I said, well, we got to play that, man.
Yeah.
And so you got to remember to let go and run towards those things that make you uncomfortable because that's where your best performances are going to come.
Yeah, he
from,
ended up locked into Vegas because of the Colonel Tom Parker's gambling.
Yeah,
and they basically said, okay, we're going to cover you this if you make sure they built the damn hotel for him.
100%.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's a fascinating story. Do you own any Elvis memorabilia?
I have somebody gave me, I have one of the Colonel's, he used to wear bolo ties, and I have one of his bolo ties that they gave me as a gift down there, which was really cool. And I just, the Elvis stuff, man, we got to take a tour of Graceland, and we got to see some of the rooms nobody gets to see, which was really cool.
That's cool.
Got to go upstairs, which was really cool.
Isn't it surprising when you first see it and go into
so small.
It's small.
Yeah. You can't, but back then that would have been a castle.
A palace,
you know what I mean? And so it was just neat because, like I said, my dad's a child of the 50s, and he would, before he passed, I got to take him there. Did that with him, which was great.
Did they show you the bathroom where he was found?
No,
Okay,
although
that's like
I
off
did want to
limits.
ask.
Yeah,
I did.
You
It's
have
just
to.
a morbid curiosity.
Sure.
Is that where he died? Did he die in Graceland?
In the bathroom.
Okay, yeah.
He was literally he
I
fell
know.
off the
I know
boat.
where
Yeah.
he died. I didn't know if it was in Graceland.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, going on another point, talk about Mike and Molly and all that stuff, and when that part of your career kicked in from stand up.
Yeah.
You've talked about this in a number of interviews, and you're a regular guy, and at that point you had all this in front of you, which could have led you in 9 different bad ways.
Sure.
Why do you think you were able to keep the lid on that? Because that was a hit show.
Yeah, it was, and I had quit drinking 2 years before that show happened, so that was a big help. But I think what kept me from staying out of trouble is my wife and kid,
Yeah.
I'm a very Pittsburgh guy. And so I looked at that like I'm clocking in at the factory, and what's really important is at home. And as long as I keep that focused, then I'm okay. I would have been a bigger, probably celebrity if I was better at the paparazzi and press game, but I'm like, I'm doing my job and going
Right.
home. If CBS didn't say you need to be at this event, I didn't go. I got
Okay.
invited to a bunch of stuff, but again, I'm a Pittsburgher, man. I'm going home. I got a pool. I got a yard. I'm sorry. I got a big screen TV. What else do I got? A hot rod in the garage. I'm check. Wife and kid are okay. We got insurance. I'm gold.
When you were a kid, you vacationed in this area?
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, because looking back at your history, it says you'd spent some time in the Philly area.
I used to work in Philly as a stand-up a lot because I lived in New York for a little while.
All right.
And so I would come down here and do a lot of work. You'd hit the clubs down here, and that was the East Coast pocket, the Northeast pocket. Like I would do, Philly and parts of Connecticut and of course Manhattan and do my hustle. I was in this area for like I said, I was born in Pittsburgh. I lived there till my parents split right before high school. But then I went to, Orlando. That's where I started stand-up. Then I lived in Atlanta. Then I lived in New York. Then I lived in Chicago. Then I did all the road gigs in between.
You've hit them all.
And then I moved out to California.
Were you sort of will you bet into your first stand-up gig?
Yeah. Well, the story with that is when I was 17, I was working in a warehouse, the back warehouse part. There used to be a store called Zayre's. Do you remember Zayre's?
Is that like a department store?
Yeah. Well, it was like what Target became.
Okay.
And in the back, they had a shipping and receiving area where they would, get their deliveries, and I was stacking pallets and pricing stuff so the stock crew could take stuff out. And I worked back there with 3 guys, and I kept telling them, I'm going to do stand-up, man. And they just got tired of hearing it. And they all said, all right, man, we'll bet you $50 you won't each. So that was $150, and I had to go do it because if I lost, I couldn't cover that bet. So it was nice years later to bring those guys out and let them see what I do, and it was really cool.
That is cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
Nice.
So when are you going to actually have, if you're on your calendar, when do you think you'll have enough to do this special?
I would like to ideally shoot, because once I get it where I want it, then I want to polish it again for another 6 months so that it's just airtight.
Are you your own worst critic?
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you
brutal on yourself?
4 guys could beat me to death with bats and not do the worst I do to myself. And but I think I'd like to shoot for next summer. Is what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
Is it sort of a double-edged sword or sort of bittersweet? You've worked on this material, and you know when you cast it off into the ether. It used to not be this case. A touring comedian could tour with the material because it's not getting that kind of exposure.
Right.
But now you're kind of closing the curtain.
You let
on
it go.
Yeah.
Well, it disappears really quick. But what eats it quicker is this social media. You know, you got to keep posting stuff on social media. And I'm a guy that likes to stand on his work. If you look at my Instagram, which I just got to about 4 months ago because I'm right on top of it. But it's all my stand-up because the problem is I'm from Gen X, and we were told never to sell out, never cheapen it, and don't be fake. So I have a hard time. Like, I can't post stuff like, hey, everybody, I'm eating olives. Like, I can't. It just makes me want to throw up in my mouth. So I just post my work. But the problem with that is it evaporates so quick. But it's so fragmented. What I'm finding is, even if you do, like, most people will see a bit or two, but they're not going to see all the bits. So so you can still feel free to kind of.
It's a Whitman sampler.
But once you do the special, like you said, you got to have something behind that for when they come see you when you tour.
Yeah.
If you have a joke and you've crafted it in your mind and you love it passionately, like you feel like this is something that's going to work, and then you take it on the road, is the audience response what the litmus test is?
Always.
For you to keep it. Yeah.
For me, that is. They tell you, it's their judge and jury every time, and that's the beauty of live entertainment. I mean, they're it's yes or no every time. I don't want to be clever and quiet. I want to break some ribs and leave.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get to Soul Joel's tonight and tell Billy what you think about him while you're there.
Yeah, please do.
The show is at 8 o'clock. You can go to souljoels.com. If you haven't been there yet, Pottstown, great room, and Billy will be there this evening. It is wonderful to see you, man.
Guys, thank you so much. And again, thank you for the support over the years. You guys have always been behind me on Mike and Molly and Bob Hartz. I've done interviews with you from L.A. It's nice to see you today, but I do appreciate the support over the years. It is nice to stop in and talk to people that have been behind you, and I do appreciate it.
And we'll always be there.
Yeah,
We appreciate you coming by here. Billy Gardell, guys.
Yeah, golf clap.
We'll take a break, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve.
For you to use in case you run out of toilet
just
paper, right?
clothing. Yeah, at all times.
I agree.
Brian, did you end up? I guess you tossed your shirt into the porta potty, right?
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy who has to clean it. But
Well, you could toss it into a porta pot because it's not going through plumbing.
Yeah.
But they eventually have to. Yeah, it won't go through plumbing.
Yeah.
But they do have to do something with that stuff eventually.
Don't they have people that pull the clothing out and clean it?
Yeah, I think they do. Maybe that's what I'm.
Ooh, a shirt. Ooh.
All right, listen to
dildo.
this. Listen to this. I'm going to Scott. This is very interesting. Hi, Scott. Good morning.
Hey, Preston, is this bad time? Can you talk?
I can talk. I'm good. What's up, buddy?
So I was out for a long walk with my girlfriend, now wife. We were going to go feed the ducks, feed the fish, and the urge hit, and we were far from anywhere, and I had nothing. I squatted behind a tree. I told her to run. It wasn't to
run.
This isn't going to be pretty.
Run! Get to the chopper!
And I had to use the pack of hamburger buns that we were going to use to feed the ducks.
Oh, my God.
You used a bread product.
I did. I had
Okay.
to.
So could you? Was it in plastic? Could you have used the plastic first?
I probably could have used the plastic, but
I'm going to support you in your use of the bread. I think that probably on a more natural level would be better. And even with this knowledge, this woman married you. She's a keeper.
She did, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. And then it says here on my screen, there was some other situations.
Oh, yeah. I did landscaping for a number of years, and when there's nothing out there on a job site, and it's in the middle of winter, and there's no paper, there's nothing, I just rolled up a couple snowballs and washed it.
Snowballs.
I thought you were going to say
Never
like
considered that.
a shrub.
My God, Scott.
A snowball would work.
Yeah, but think about
the cold.
The cold.
Yeah.
How funky was that?
It was awful. The homeowner actually came out, and my boss told her what was going on. She was a friendly lady. And she said, that must have been one cold poop.
Oh, my God.
So let me ask you just on a basic level, Scott, how do you have intestinal issues or were we talking panic situations here, like you're sick?
It was. I used to have some pretty good intestinal issues before I got taken care
And
of.
because when that
Yeah.
happens, people don't realize.
But listen,
there's nothing you can do.
Working though, landscaping though, if you're out all day long, and I would imagine a lot of times people aren't home. You can't say knock on the door and say, "Look, I'm having an emergency. I apologize." And you probably don't want to do that anyway. I would imagine you find yourself in a situation where it's like, all right, pardon the pun, but I got to make do. I got to make this happen.
You better skim your pool.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Scott. I appreciate it. I'll bet you construction workers, guys out in landscaping,
snipers,
maybe. Yeah. No, but I'll bet you that group of people have to deal with this more than anyone else.
Because your options are much more limited.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would always be wearing a wiping shirt.
Case, we don't have much time, right?
Damn it, we're just cracking the surface on this.
Let me see here.
We're changing lives.
What is this? All right, let me go to Dan. Hi, Dan. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. What's up, Dan?
Okay, so when I first got together with my now wife, I was born in Kansas, and I wanted to take her. We were going to visit family. And I wanted to take her to the river where we spent my stomping grounds when I was a kid. We used to go fishing, swimming, you know.
It's awesome. Yes, how romantic.
It was going to be great. So I thought, so we get down there and, you know, we're walking around and I'm like, yeah, this is where I used to, She's looking at me and I'm like, well, I'm sorry. You know, so I'm actually using the car that my mom lent me, you know, while we were there visiting.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Opened the door to the old Chrysler Sebring drop top, and I thought, well, I don't have anything. And I'm looking around. I'm like, Mom's beanie it is, you know.
Mom's beanie?
Yeah.
She had a hat in the car, and that's it.
I used the hat. I had to, man. I do construction, too, so I'm telling you guys, it's a rough life, man.
I know. I have no doubt. When you have to use your beloved mother's beanie.
God rest her soul. No.
Thank God Grandma wasn't in the backseat. Your skin's kind of papery.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Dan, that's...
My wife looked at me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry.
All right.
Thanks, Dan.
Rabbi, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
You don't have to say yes.
Oh, my God. Listen, at some point, you have no choice, or you're walking around with what we described the other week, the Chappelle thing, mud butt, and you can't have that.
It reduces you, but the thing is that you're not alone.
Yeah.
That's the song says.
I thought these were good tips. I thought these are good things you may not consider to check your pockets, maybe the cardboard roll. I mean, these are last measures.
But number one, as you said at the top of it, don't panic.
Don't panic.
Don't panic.
Relax, and you can get through this. So anyhow, just
John McClane it.
We're saving lives here. That's what we're doing. All right, so we need to take a break. Thank you for listening and for your patience and your resolve to stay with the Preston and Steve show. $50 Wawa gift card. Take caller number 8 at 215-263-WMMR. Tomorrow is Wawa Hoagie Day. It's part of the Wawa Welcome America celebration.
So exciting.
Casey and I will be on Independence Mall tomorrow from noon to 2 at 5th and Chestnut.
Beautiful weather.
And you can come out. The weather's going to be great. Yep. And you get free. It's an 8-ton hoagie. Free to the public. Come and get your lunch and join us for that event. We're going to take a break. We'll come back in a moment. We will get the CEO of Wawa, Mr. Chris Geison's on in just a little bit. Returning shortly. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve.
Anyway, enough about me. We need to talk about you. We're diving into the city beat, folks. Yep. I got some stories that have to do with things in and around or affect our area.
Scoobily wow wow. Yeah. He's the meat behind the street.
And I got this particular story because sometimes I have some outside contributors. Kathy Romano sent this to me.
Ooh. So she's a correspondent.
This is from NJ.com, and they have their list of the...
That's New Jersey, right?
That would stand for New Jersey. NJ stands for New Jersey. All 44 New Jersey beaches ranked worst to best for summer 2022. Now, we're not going to go through all 44.
Okay, just do the 43.
No, we're gonna go through the ones where most of our area head to.
Like not up by the city.
Yeah, there's
going to
be southern New Jersey.
Yeah.
So,
I will say, though, like I went through the whole list. I didn't realize there are some beaches out there I had never heard of that are very popular for people in our area, too.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the migration to the shore is a huge thing. It's been that for decades and decades and decades. But it's funny what you just said, Kathy, because there are people who, like, I didn't know some of the taking a look at the map. Some of the beaches that are popular were shore towns that people go to. I had no idea existed.
Right. So there was one, and it's on the list, and I'm sure you'll get to it, Preston. But Ortley Beach, and it is not like what we consider the shore. And I actually recently had a conversation with a few different people who couldn't believe that I had not heard of it, and said it's very popular. And
What? I have never heard of Ortley.
Yeah, it's listed as one of the better beaches to go to.
What part of Jersey is that in?
Case, it's like I think it's considered maybe like Tom's River.
Okay.
But from where I live, the people that I was talking to, they said it's the same distance, same amount of time for them to go there as it would be to go, to Avalon or Stone Harbor.
I have no, listen, it's not even July yet, right? So usually you kind of have to wait until after like school is officially out. But I feel like I wonder if this economy is having some issues, no. If it's causing issues. I feel like the beach has not been overly crowded, and I wonder if gas prices or any of those things is wreaking havoc and causing issues with.
Doesn't
with
help, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, Press. If have you noticed it being a little bit quieter down there?
A smidge, maybe, but not like really noticeable. But
you do a lot of skeet shooting off your roof, so you wouldn't really even notice.
Yeah. I scare them away, basically.
They just run away. So give us a teasers.
First, let me give you the what they judged the criteria on. So it says we judge only oceanfront beaches, no bay, lake, or riverfront on beach quality, cleanliness, crowd type and size, parking availability, and surrounding food, drink, and recreation.
Gets along well with other beaches.
They said we went to one beach per town. For example, Ortley Beach.
Ortley
was the representative for Tom's River, Kathy.
Yeah.
And Island Beach State Park checks in for Berkeley Township. So I kind of stayed a little bit Atlantic City, like Margate and South.
The ones when you think of
or not Margate, but Brigantine and South is kind of what I'm
kind of a novice to this. Occasionally my wife will go down for a little bit.
You're not a shore guy.
I'm not a shore guy.
Yeah.
But I'm every time I go down, I have a good time. So I might be moving in that way. But I always think of it, Preston, from Atlantic City south is the main concentration.
From here, because you just take the AC
Yeah.
Expressway straight out,
Right?
And
Which is funny because my girlfriend used to live in Northeast Philly, and there's a town, and I'm curious as to whether or not it shows up on the list or not, Preston. But if you take 195 due east, it goes straight across the street instead of like the AC Expressway, which goes south and east. And there's a town called Spring Lake, which is one of the nicest towns I've ever been to. I had never heard of it growing up.
Spring Lake?
Well, it's Steve. It's
I never heard.
A little north of Point Pleasant, but I'd never gone to it growing up. And yeah, Kathy, like for me growing up, it was Atlantic City and South. That was the Jersey Shore.
So she grew up in Northeast Philly. I grew up in Bucks County. So we most of the time went to what we consider beach towns up there.
Huh.
Spring Lake is actually not listed. It's not. Well, because they said
It's
even
the poor man's Ortley.
well, no, they said it's beautiful and the homes are beautiful, but like it's there's not much else to do. You have to drive into the town. Like you can't if you're going to go to the beach. There's nowhere really to like go get something to eat or anything like that.
That's what they took into consideration on this list.
Stuff to do.
It's stuff to do. Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
We when we were poking around there, as far north as we went was Seaside Heights. We actually went up there and looked and kind of worked our way down.
And that's where Jersey Shore was shot.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go through a few highlights on this list.
I don't want to hear this.
WMMR.
Thank you, Nick, for filling in for Marissa for traffic this morning. She's out today, so great job. All right, we have another run at the Bizarre File, and let's fire that sucker up right now.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
All right, we're going to get right into the stories. We'll begin with this. A British Airways crew were forced to spend a layover night in an Italian sex hotel after a mix-up.
Okay.
At least 12 members of the staff were booked into the Motel Mo'ome.
wants to hand the job?
In Milan, which offers a variety of themed suites, including BDSM dungeon-style rooms, complete with a caged bed and standing cross with wrist cuffs.
That might be kind of fun.
So it's thought the staff were supposed to stay at the hotel, or they actually have one next door to it, a regular, quote, vanilla four-star hotel next door run by the same brand. The airline said some staff were moved to unapproved hotel rooms following availability issues with our usual accommodation provider. And it said this happened without the knowledge of the company managers. An insider said that the mix-up was to a comical mistake, or they put it down to a comical mistake by the hotel booking team, adding that it had some serious implications. Some of the team who stayed at the sex dungeon didn't get any sleep so they could operate on the services the following day. They were kept awake by thrill seekers moaning and groaning all day and night.
That could be dangerous.
They said there were adult workers outside propositioning staff. Crew even reported suspicious fluids in their rooms.
Oh, dude. That's the kind of room where the TV remote is the cleanest thing in the room.
Which made their skin crawl. And it's understood there were no delays to the flight that affected crew. There were no delays to the flight the affected crew were supposed to work on the following day. British Airways is urgently investigating to prevent a repeat in that. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah. You guys are going to love this story. This is out of England. A police officer may be fired after he asked a colleague to pull his finger, and then he went ahead and farted when she said no. So Wayne Sanson laughed after breaking wind in the woman's face at Wembley Police Station. Russell Ford for the Met Police told the disciplinary hearing when she declined to pull his finger, he passed wind in her face from around 10 to 15 inches away.
This is not
in my face.
This is not the first story you've had of this happening.
Sansom admits that he asked her to pull his finger, but denies actually farting. But Mr. Ford said he fully accepts his attempted humor was misplaced and inappropriate in a modern policing workplace. Sansom approached her and asked her to pull his finger. She knew what it was intended for and told him to move along. And at this, Sansom turned his back, stood on his toes, and passed wind in her face.
And when the plaintiff asked you to pull his finger, did a fart ensue?
He is also accused of making inappropriate and discourteous comments when the female officer was assisting on a call out regarding Romanians who did not speak English. Sansom referred to them as effing D-heads. And she replied, "That's okay, Wayne. Everyone knows you don't like Romanian people." And he replied, "That's not true. I would put my D in you."
Wow.
And he has also been accused of calling her a lesbian and asking her questions about her sexuality. So it goes beyond the fart in the face.
He should be working in HR. This guy clearly has a handle on office.
Sansom argued he only asked her once about her sexuality, adding that he was worried that it would lead to her being unfairly treated or talked about.
Listen, I need to tell you some things.
Another police officer, Ben Jeffries, is also said to have made discourteous remarks and took a picture of his testicles using her phone. Mr. Ford said when Jeffries handed her phone back to her, she opened it and noticed the last application used was the camera. She looked at the last photographs taken and saw what she believed to be a testicle. She said, "That's disgusting." And Jeffries replied, "What? Why are you getting offended? It's just a picture of my balls."
Oh, my God.
That's a gem.
Unbelievable. Well, and when they brought this to him, he's like, "What?"
Both officers could be fired if the allegations against them are proved to be gross misconduct, and the hearing continues. All right, this one is really messed up. A Russian soldier fighting in the front lines of Ukraine killed his colleague and lived off his remains for 2 weeks.
Ew.
Ukraine's Military Intelligence Directorate, HUR, has claimed. They released what it said was an intercepted call between two of Vladimir Putin's troops in which they were heard discussing an alleged case of cannibalism among the ranks.
Oof.
One soldier was heard telling his stunned comrade in an explosive-laden rant how a soldier nicknamed Brelock, or Keychain, killed his fellow infantryman Foma and began eating him. And in the call, the guy says, "Brelock effing ate him." He said, "F me, nobody went anywhere." Brelock whacked him and then ate him for 2 effing weeks. Now, he goes on to say, was Brelock really found as 200? The other responds. The term 200 refers to someone who is found killed in action. And the first caller said, yeah, they said he was 200. He ate his comrade. So, yeah, something to think about. I was shocked myself. So they have intermittently shared snippets of phone calls. The security group said that they said were genuine interceptors of Russian communications since the full-scale invasion. But several Russian units engaged in frontline combat in Ukraine are made up of hardened criminals who agreed to sign up for so-called special military operation in exchange for a commutation of their sentences. In May 2024, it emerged that a convicted cannibal and murderer rapist were among the men freed by Russian Defense Ministry before heading to the front lines. Dmitry Malchev was jailed after frying the heart of one of 3 men that he killed. He was hit with a 25-year sentence, but he was let out early to serve in the military. Meanwhile, rapist and killer Alexandre Meslenikov used an axe and a meat grinder to cut up and mince the bodies of 2 women he invited to his apartment for pizza before feeding human flesh to the dogs. Wow.
Listen, I don't care how good tasting Brelock is. After about a week, I'd get bored with that.
You need to move on to something else. All right, and then one last story, and we will end with this one. Police in France said that 14 people had been arrested after 145 people reported being stuck, possibly by syringes, at a nationwide music festival this past Saturday.
I remember years ago there was somebody who was doing it domestically, locally. Do you remember that story?
Not around here, but possibly. I wouldn't doubt it. Well, this was 4 women, and the attacks happened during France's annual Festival of Music, which is a series pricked or believed they were typically attacked when they were in a crowd and were pricked either in the arm or back, police said, and most of the victims didn't see their attacker. Victims reported feeling an array of symptoms. Marks or bruises on their skin. Some victims were treated by medics at the festivals, but some were taken to the hospital where they were given saliva, urine, and blood samples to detect whether they had been injected with substances. It's not yet clear whether substances have been detected following those tests, but in a video, French police said that they have arrested, so far, 14 suspects in connection with the attacks.
That's
wow.
crazy.
That's disturbing. And that is where we will end the bizarre file for now. All right, let's take a break, but not before we set you up again. Adam Sandler tickets.
Yeah. Hey.
They go on sale today at noon, and we'll take caller number 16, 610-660-9333. This show is not until September 19th, and it will be at the Wells Fargo Center, or whatever it's called now. Tickets go on sale, like I said, today at noon, and you can go to WMMR.com for more information over there. We'll take caller number 16, and you get the tickets. We're going to take a break. We're not done giving stuff away. Lesson question, trash music news coming up when we return.
Preston and Steve.
Number 40 is Atlantic City. Obviously, there's probably
Are there things to do there?
There are some things to do there. It says amazing, and I'm going to read you the description from NJ.com. Amazing Bruce Springsteen song and terrific boardwalk.
That's right.
The ability to gamble feet away from the ocean is pretty incredible, but the beach itself is lackluster at best.
Do you agree with that?
Not the cleanest by any stretch, and the sand isn't exactly soft, and even that vaunted boardwalk is starting to feel downtrodden, just like the rest of the city. So that's their assessment.
Preston, does Brigantine get folded into Atlantic City?
No, it's its own thing. Yeah. All right, then you have number 39, Wildwood. It says, you can't do much better than Wildwood's Boardwalk. They don't have a roller coaster. They basically have a theme park and a water park and go-karts and enough boardwalk food to make you sick. But you can't do much worse than their beach. It's so long and flat that walking to the water is exhausting. They literally have sand taxis. It says cute, but a sign that your beach is way too wide. It is huge. All up and down the Wildwoods, except North Wildwood is tiny.
They do also have like planks to walk on, so you're not walking in straight up sand.
But anyone, like the first time I got out there years ago, I remember thinking, everyone thinks, you cannot help but go, Jesus Christ, this is a very wide beach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've come to love it.
All right, then you have
It loves you.
Margate City.
Okay.
It says finding parking is tricky at Margate. This is number 35 on the list. I'm going to work our way down. I'm just skipping around to highlights.
Yeah.
And for once, so is finding Lucy the elephant too. The 6-story, 140-year-old wooden South Jersey icon is currently undergoing renovations. But you know what is open? The Margate Dairy Dairy Bar, home of some of the best ice cream and burgers you'll find on the shore. The beach itself is fine but unremarkable, they say.
Okay.
Number 31 is Strathmere.
I love Strathmere.
Yeah,
too.
it's great.
One of the few free beaches in the Garden State. Strathmere's sand isn't exactly pristine, but there's a ton of parking available, and the Twisties is a terrific dive bar nearby.
Twisties is what
I've been by there.
described as like it's like stuck. It's like back in time.
Oh, it's okay.
But they don't need to do anything because it's the only place to go there, and people flock to it. And it's actually great. It's right on the bay. Like you sit there, you're looking at the bay. It's just it gets really crowded because it's the only place to go.
Right.
Between Ocean City and Sea Isle.
Is it the same place as the Deauville, or is it next to the Deauville?
No, that's not it. It's further. It's like the middle of Strathmere.
So
next.
a quick question. So is this where if you don't have a place down there?
No, there's houses there. It's just not
I'm
as
saying
many.
for people who are just going to go and take a day trip. Is this?
Oh, I got you.
Is this a likely beach?
No. I don't think so.
Oh, I think so because isn't it free there? Isn't it? Yeah,
it is.
You don't need the beach tags, and it's sort of a nice midpoint between Ocean City and Sea Isle. Sea Isle is a little younger. Sea Isle kind of skews towards, especially like the party scene, like 20-year-olds, and that generation, and Ocean City is much more family.
I guess it depends on what you want because there's really not a whole lot to do there.
Yeah,
I like
just
if you
beach.
just want beach,
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
What about marlin fishing?
All right, I don't know.
Well, there was a time where Casey and Kathy and I went to the Deauville. We took a limo down there. And
God, I
this
forgot about
was
that. Don't bring that up.
A decade ago, and it was a disaster.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Disaster.
I don't know what you mean by disaster.
Was it an appearance?
Wait,
it was
Casey,
an appearance.
Is that where you got out and walked home from the Blue Route?
Yes.
That was on the way
because-
back, yeah.
On the way back because I was very, very aware of the fact that there was major construction going on north of Westchester Pike. I had recommended getting off and going to Route 1 because we were supposed to stay at this hotel across the street over here. And you, Kathy, was like, no! It's faster to go this. I was like, there is. And then sure enough, that we got we got dead stop right after Route 3, Westchester Pike. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get out. I'm going to walk. And I walked a mile to Westchester Pike and then all the way. And I still beat you guys home.
He did. He beat us home.
So do you admit you made a poor decision?
Oh, God. I think we all made a lot of poor decisions
dude.
that
We were
evening.
drawing. I have to apologize. You were trying to sneak Nick, and I drew on your face. And, sorry.
He's got 32 more beaches.
I got to go through these. All right, so Strathmere's number one.
Santa's got to go.
These are highlights. Santa's got to go. Please allow me.
Santa's got to go.
All right,
I need you to stop talking.
and talk about beaches.
Number 30 is Seaside Heights, and that's the Jersey Shore.
Right.
And it says, it says, Snooki warned you not to fall in love with the Jersey Shore. You won't fall in love with this beach either. It's not the cleanest or the nicest, but it'll get the job done. The boardwalk, though, absolutely incredible. It says, we will accept no haters. Do yourself a favor and have a slice at Marica's and a cheesesteak at Midway.
Is Seaside like Wildwood?
Yeah, I think
the boardwalk. Okay.
Number 28 is Brigantine. It says it's remarkable how close this beach is to Atlantic City while somehow feeling many miles away. It is refreshingly mellow here, a far cry from the beach a few miles south. The juxtaposition of natural beauty surrounding with the beach of the AC skyline is jarring, but a lot of fun. Decent parking gives you a kind of long walk to the beach, but it is a pretty walk to a pretty beach.
I like Brigantine. The times I've been there.
And the only knock I've heard on Brigantine are the people who live there, like full year, like all year long, that they don't like
outsiders.
And then they will chase you out with lit torches.
No, but like our friend Tim, who has a place there, he will lie. If somebody asks him if he lives there, he'll be like, "Yeah, I do," because otherwise,
really,
yeah.
Ah, man, that sucks.
Number 27 on this list is Wildwood Crest. It says, speaking of long walks on the beach, or on the beach for that matter, Wildwood Crest is filled with hotels and families vacationing in them, which makes accessing the very wide beaches hard and getting parking even harder. The beach is cleaner than Wildwood, and the vibe is way more chill. And if you're looking for a true desert to spend a full day planted in the sand, this is a solid spot, and it is free. The beaches are free there. But there's a whole lot less to do as well. It says, it's funny because Casey and I were at Mudhead, this brew pub in Wildwood, and we were talking to a guy who was local who came out and saw, I was playing with the band Five Times Famous. And he was talking to us. He's like, He's like, dude, every time you guys mention Wildwood Crust, we're like, stop it. Don't let the secret out about how great this place is.
It really is a wonderful place.
All right. Then number 21 is North Wildwood. Cleaner and more relaxing. Its boisterous brother to the south. North Wildwood is perfect if you want to spend a little time at Wildwood's vaunted boardwalk, but beach time is more important to you. The parking is surprisingly good as well. The streets are pretty wide.
Are they?
In North Wildwood,
Streets are wide. The problem there is that the beaches erode every single year.
They do.
And every year they have to like dredge and I mean it's pretty wild. And so you wonder why.
Wow.
Well, yeah, you wonder why Wildwood and Wildwood Crest beaches are so big. I think it's because the beaches at North Wildwood are
depositing onto them.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so these are the top 44.
The top 44?
No, these are
beaches.
all 44 beaches in New
I'm
Jersey.
sorry, yeah, all 44 New Jersey
Ranked.
beaches ranked worst to best.
Right.
And this is NJ.com. We're not going through all of them, just some highlights. So
Just our beaches.
number 19 is Stone Harbor. And listen to this description. Taylor Swift fans know this beach all too well. The singer-songwriter spent her childhood here, and who can blame her? It says, the beach is gorgeous. You won't find a much better beach in your wildest dreams. The sand is great, though you'll want to shake it off before you go home.
I get it. All those are Taylor Swift songs.
And don't forget to leave a blank space in your stomach for ice cream from Springer's, another T Swift favorite.
I love Springer's.
And if you didn't get any of those puns, it says, baby, now we got bad blood. Okie dokie.
The only knock on Stone Harbor is that it's pricey.
Oh, my God, is it pricey?
It's probably the priciest.
Dude, if you go by, so in the little town there's a real estate place, and they have listings in the window.
Yeah.
Weezer on 93.3 WMMR. No Sad Bro Friday with Say It Ain't So, but things cooling off a little bit today. A high of about 72 degrees. Much, much cooler. Like a 17-degree difference from yesterday.
This is the day to, and I'm going to, mow the lawn.
Yeah, that'd be a good call.
Oh, yeah.
Clouds today. Tomorrow, clouds and sun, high 89. Sunshine on Sunday, high 89. And then we'll get into the low 90s Monday, Tuesday. Maybe a chance of some rain as we head into the beginning of the work week. We have a lesson question and are going to give away a pair of tickets and a suite to join our very own Mr. Brent Porsche for the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400 NASCAR Cup Series race. It's going to be Sunday, July 20th at Dover Motor Speedway. And the question, that we are going to go with is, Steve would never kill someone for eating what kind of pizza? 610-660-9333. This is in the Connoisseur segment. Steve would never kill someone for eating what kind of pizza. We talked about a very specific kind of pizza. If you heard it and you know the answer, then by all means, you should call right now because we got the prize over here. We'll do the trash while you're calling in.
The trash business is a gold mine. 93.3 WMMR with Preston and Steve's Hollywood Trash.
Brought to you by our wonderful friends at Neumann University. Steve, what's going on this morning?
Well, billionaire Pavel Durov announcing he will be dividing his fortune amongst his own 6 children, as well as 100 additional children he served as a sperm donor for. Not to be outdone, Nick Cannon has reportedly ordered 50 gallons of hand lotion in a tanker truck.
Oh, my God.
Fashion icon Anna Wintour announcing she will be stepping down from American Vogue at the end of the year. Wintour plans on pursuing a career as a competitive eater.
Oh, my
And finally, Brian Wilson's official death certificate has been released, and as we all suspected, he was killed by a chupacabra. Mr. Hollywood Trash.
All right, we'll see if someone does know the answer to the question this morning. Steve would never kill someone for eating what kind of pizza? And we go to Scott and see if we can get an answer. Scott, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Scott.
Is it a Hawaiian pizza?
You are correct. And we are going to give you, like I said a moment ago, a pair of tickets and a suite to join our very own MMR's Brent Porsche for the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400 NASCAR Cup Series race. And that is Sunday, July 20th at Dover Motor Speedway. NASCAR returns to Dover Motor Speedway. July 18th to 20th, you can see NASCAR's best drivers race at speeds up to 200 miles per hour. and enjoy an amazing fan zone and much more. Get tickets at DoverMotorSpeedway.com.
Now, Preston and Steve's Music News on 93.3 WMMR.
Got two things for you, and we'll start with one Steve was just talking about. Brian Wilson's cause of death has been revealed. He was not killed by a chupacabra.
Oh, he wasn't?
All right.
It's about 2 weeks after the Beach Boys singer passed away. It was announced by his family. According to a death certificate, Wilson's immediate cause of death was noted as respiratory arrest, while sepsis and cystitis, or cystitis, I'm not sure how you pronounce this, were also listed as contributed causes. The certificate also noted the singer was dealing with other conditions, including neurodegenerative disorder, obstructive sleep apnea, chronic respiratory failure, and chronic kidney disease as well.
And there's also, I mean, his wife had passed, right? It was his wife just a while ago. And I think the broken heart thing also played into it. He was devastated.
So his death was confirmed on June 11th. And then they have one other story, and that's it. But Chevy Metal, the cover band that was started by Taylor Hawkins of Foo Fighters, has lined up a summer run of 2025 headline shows. The trek begins July 21st in Menlo Park. We'll hit Denver, Aspen, Boston, New York, Washington, D.C., head to Southern California, Venice Beach, Long Beach, a charity gig for animal rescue group Eastwood Ranch in Agora Hills, and they will be playing the Fillmore in Philadelphia, and that will be July 25th.
Who leads Chevy Metal now?
So it will be featuring Hawkins' 17-year-old son, Shane, on drums,
all right.
which is cool.
That is cool.
Longtime bassist Wiley Hodgson, and guitarist Brent Woods, who trained under Randy Rhoads, round out
Well, that's good.
Chevy Metal. But it's cool that his son, Shane, is going to be playing in the band. So that's who you will get to see.
Can you believe he died 3 years ago? It's
crazy.
Wow.
And we were talking about Petty earlier. Petty was 2017 when he passed away. I mean,
It's insane.
Time just flies.
Yep.
Yeah, it does. You're looking at me.
You looked like you wanted to add something.
No. I want to add something,
I want
but
to tell him I love him so badly. I'm so nervous.
All right, so we're going to wrap up music news?
You wrap up music news. I just wanted to do a quick little thank you and a mention.
All right, that's it in music news. And now, Casey Foster.
I want to thank my friends at Visit Delco, visitdelcopa.com. We did our series of broadcast events with Brent Porsche. Yesterday, we finished at Marty McGee's. And so Visit Delco is a great partner for Families Behind the Badge, Children's Foundation, and specifically MMR Rock and Rollers. But I also want to mention this because the Wawa Foundation, they have the 10th anniversary Wawa Foundation Hero Award. And Families Behind the Badge is up for a $50,000 donation. So got to go to PrestonandSteve.com and you can click on the link and vote for Families Behind the Badge. Today is the last day that you can vote for them. And if they win a $50,000 donation. It's the Wawa Foundation Hero Award. So please go to PrestonandSteve.com, find that link, click on it, and vote for Families Behind the Badge.
Love you guys to get that. That would be wonderful. All right, and as we take a break, I'm going to give away the final pair of tickets for Adam Sandler. We've had a bunch of these giveaway today, which is wonderful. So that show, tickets go on sale today at noon. We'll take caller number 21, 610-660-9333. Adam will be coming to the Wells Fargo Center on September 19th. So let's get you those tickets before they go on sale at noon today. We're going to take a break. We'll come back in a second. We'll give away our Word of the Week prize when we return. And Ray Koob back in today, do we know?
No, Sarah Parker.
Sarah Parker?
Yeah.
All right, we had a nice variety. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. $8 million. I mean, it's insane.
For a 3-bedroom.
Insane. The price of
Does
real
their
estate
lead
there.
realtor have googly eyes? Or is...
No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
a different guy. But we could make this happen. All right, number 17 on the list is Avalon. It says the walk to the beach at Avalon is longer than we'd like, but the beach is nice and wide and the sand is soft and perfect for laying out. Parking isn't an issue either.
That was my beach for years.
That's where my parents had a house.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
my,
They sold it, right?
my dad's biggest financial regret in his entire life. Had a house on 17th Street. It was barely a house. It was like a shack, but
Was it
Still be worth millions now.
Yeah, the property alone. You're buying the zip code. You're buying the acreage, and yeah, it was a nice place for a family to go. And my mom hates my dad for.
And not only that, he said that there was an issue because there was oil seeping up to the ground. around.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do with all
What
this
am I going
bubbling
to do
crude?
with this bubbling oil?
Nick, was it beachside or bayside?
No, it was in the middle. Okay, so it was, but you could walk to, what's it called, Circle Pizza, and I mean, look, it was Avalon. It's a great beach, and it's a really nice family town.
So we would, when we were doing our live broadcast from when we were in Y100, we would always go to Avalon.
Yeah,
it was very
21st.
chill, very chill.
Oh, by the way, man, Sylvester's is gone now, or at least it was going away, and that was my favorite crab cake of all time. Sylvester's is right off of 21st Street, and it had been there forever and ever and ever.
Do we need an investigative report?
No. They just went away. I guess maybe the real estate was just too lucrative, and they sold it. I don't really know,
The
but
rent
it
is
made
too
me
damn high.
It made me really sad because I took you there.
Yeah, I thought it was just okay.
Which one did you get?
That's personal preference. I got the broiled like you recommended. Yeah.
No, it's the
Can you
fried
guys
is-
still be friends?
Fried is where it's at.
I think we can still be friends.
We can still, we're still friends.
All right.
I brought him coffee
But
this
not
morning.
as
He said
close.
thank you.
Well, he wrote it on a sticky and put it on his forehead.
Number 13 on this list is Ocean City.
Ocean City.
Previously a contender for the top spot in the rankings, Ocean City's beach itself has seen better days and now has exposed piping throughout sections.
That's so cool.
Go play on the pipe, kids. You can still find very nice stretches, though, and there is no questioning how incredible Ocean City's throwback boardwalk is, featuring Gillian's Wonderland Pier, Playland's Castaway Cove, and delicious Coors Brothers frozen custard, among other attractions.
I always went to Ocean City. It is not the beach that I knew growing up. Like, they had these awesome little jetties that would, Steve, they would create these little pools, and you could find starfish. Those things don't exist anymore. They just
It's over.
It's over.
I like their boardwalk.
Yeah, it's a
I
nice.
think it's really nice.
There's not a lot of undeveloped area.
Give any starfish.
It's so crowded.
Where's the starfish?
It is.
Yeah, they develop every single available acreage there, and you know it's a city, so I guess that's why they do it. But it's a little frustrating.
And they go up really high with the,
Yes, they do.
properties.
Like
It's
3-4 stories
Jersey
that can
has
go up there.
In general, Jersey has some, and a large part due to the shore stuff, the highest valued real estate in the country.
Yeah,
Yes.
but like in towns like Cape May, like there's still a lot of green space, you know. So
Right,
in
right.
Ocean City, there's just not.
Nick, I've gone to Ocean City. A friend of mine has a house there, and I've gone, and I called her once, and I was like, I'm leaving because I can't find parking.
Yeah, for
Like, I
sure.
was like, this is ridiculous. And fortunately, she has a large driveway, so she was like, no. I'll pull my car in the garage. You come into the driveway. But I mean, it was so crowded that I'm like, I literally can't find parking within walking distance of your house.
All right, I've only got 4 more I'm going to point out because we're getting into the top 10 here. So number 6 on this list. Number 6. We don't have those, do we? Still?
Yeah, we do.
That's all right. Sea Isle City.
Sea Isle City.
Yep. It says a big, beautiful beach, gorgeous dunes to admire, plenty of soft sand to stretch out on. Less than ideal parking is the only real drawback.
Number 6.
There is a paved promenade instead of a boardwalk to stroll down, and Fish Alley is loaded with a plethora of tantalizing seafood and Italian food options.
So Nick had mentioned earlier that it sort of attracts the younger crowd, and
Sea Isle City.
Well, yeah, but not anymore. I've said this for years. So they're actually closing a lot of those party spots, and they're building nicer restaurants that are attracting more families, a little bit of an older crowd. So it's still a really fun city to go to, but that I think that like drunken 20-year-old, although there are still some there, they're sort of pushing them out.
Another drunken 60-year-olds.
I mean,
is this a good pound cake place in town?
pretty much, but the thing about Sea Isle that I love the most is once you get there, because they say that parking isn't the greatest there. I mean, it's not in any of the beach towns, but once you park, you don't ever have to move. You can go for a weekend, you can go for a full week. You don't have to move.
You're there, locked and loaded.
They have the jitney that goes up and down the entire town, and you don't. I mean, that's what I like the best about it is I literally never drive the car once I get there.
That's cool. Steve, you and I are wheel watchers, and I've noticed recently that there's a Sea Isle City campaign. It's not Jersey Shore.
Yes,
it's
no,
not,
you're right.
and
Yeah.
it's just focuses exclusively on one town, which I find to be interesting. That they have enough ad dollars to focus a tourism campaign on just that one city. But yeah, they're focusing on it.
I know they have a primo hoagie, so there we go.
Yeah, all right.
All right, down to number 4 now.
Number 4.
Bringing us a wrap on music with Hard to Handle. It's 10:27 and the Preston and Steve show on this Friday, no sad bro morning. I will take a moment to thank our guest that we had in the studio today. It was excellent catching up with him, Mr. Billy Gardell.
Yeah.
He's a first-class guy.
He's terrific.
He's nothing but cool and nice and just a real inviting personality.
Legitimately, though, a funny guy.
And very
he's
funny.
great, yeah.
I agree. So he's playing at Soul Joel's, and you can catch that show tonight at 8 o'clock. Get tickets at souljoels.com. And Joel himself was here this morning.
Another great guy.
Soul Joel's, which was excellent. So we had a fun time today. So thank you very much, everybody, if you were a participant or just hung out with us. We have Sarah Parker, who has made it into our studio. Hello there, Sarah.
Happy Friday, friends.
Nice to see you.
You as well.
Yeah, I didn't. Yesterday we were getting done with the show and wrapping up, and I thought I was throwing it to Pierre, and all of a sudden I hear Ray Coob's voice out of nowhere.
Out of the blue.
And I didn't know that you were going to be in today. So this is a pleasant surprise, too.
Pierre is a world traveler and keeps us on our toes.
Yeah.
We'll say that much.
That he does.
He's got, usually he has 51 weeks of vacation.
Something like that. Yeah, that seems about right for a broadcasting legend.
Well, we're going to get the letter of the day first and foremost from you. You ready?
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
Now, the Daily Letter.
And the Preston and Steve show is brought to you today by the letter
E as in excellent.
All right, and we'll take let's do caller number 4.
Yeah.
All right, 610-660-9333 is the number. And if you happen to know the word, we have a very cool prize I think you will appreciate. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. In the meantime, we're going to find out what Sarah's got in store for you today on the program. What you doing?
We've got a handful of pairs of tickets to give out for the Counting Crows concert that's happening at Edis Arena at the Hard Rock Atlantic City next Saturday, July 5th. That'll probably be a text contest. And then the workforce blocks will be of Cage the Elephant, who have 2 shows coming up. I think you're going to talk more about that in a second. Incubus is in Atlantic City tonight, so we'll do a block of them. And then we had a letter for the Mighty Dio, so of course we've got to get to some Dio today.
Yeah.
I know you're loving that.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Circling back to the song that you just played,
yes.
Hard to Handle. If you could sing that hook, do you think you could do it accurately?
No.
Because me and Ryan were just out in the green room trying to figure out the lyrics. For the longest time, I thought it was...
To be honest, the leading up to the Saturday about a dozen, and that ain't nothing but drugstore love. And I know
Is that
part.
what the line is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the line that I had no idea. And then I thought it followed it up with, hey, little thing, let me light your chemicals.
Your candle.
And Ryan had a fit because he said, no, it's light your candle now. But we listened to it very closely and we think it's light your candle cuz.
Light your chemicals.
I'm gonna...
Because I made a bomb.
Here we go. All right.
Okay, here we go.
Let me see here. Boys will come along a dime by the dozen. Oh, that ain't nothing but 10-cent lovin'. It's not drugstore. I don't know where the hell I got drugstore. Hey, little thing, let me light your candle because, Mama, I'm so hard to handle now. All right, where were you talking
You're right about drugstore lovin' down at the bottom.
Yeah. All right, it does say that. Yeah, okay.
Variations.
And another one of the repetitions of the chorus, boys ain't nothing but dime store lovin'. Boys run along a dime by the dozen. That ain't nothing but drugstore lovin'. Hey, little thing, let me light your candle because, Mama, I'm sure hard to handle now. Yes, I am.
Poets, the Robinson Brothers, absolute poets.
Hey, little thing, let me light your chemicals because I made a manure bomb.
Oh, wow. And because, Mama, I'm so hard to handle now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'm.
Dun, dun,
oh, I thought he was just doing a playing on yes, sir, and saying yes around. But it's yes, sir, I'm hard to handle. Hard to handle now.
Okay,
wow.
now I get it. All these little nuances that you failed to pick up on in the initial 2 million listenings.
Yeah, imagine how many times we have heard that song working
Yeah,
here.
blissfully unaware that it really could change your life.
It could.
And here's the thing, you know what, and not to go too deep off of this end, but for the longest time I will not know the exact lyrics of a song, and I'll just deal with it. I'll just sing some gibberish or what I think it might be.
Placeholders.
And I mean for decades. And then when I find out I'm singing the wrong words or I don't know what it is, I'm kind of apprehensive on going out and finding out what it is.
Yeah.
Like that might ruin it for me.
Yes.
But every time I have, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Ain't no thing. It's actually kind of nice.
We live in fear.
Yeah.
And we don't need to live in fear.
We don't need to live
when
in
it comes to the Counting Crows.
Do it today. Go find out the words of something that you haven't known for a long, long time and enlighten yourself. And you'll be glad that you did it.
Yeah.
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. Build bridges.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we can get a winner for the word of the week. And it is Denise who is caller number 4, so we will go to her. Hi there, Denise. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Denise, what is our word of the week?
Cage.
Great day in the morning.
And of course, that word was chosen for a reason. Denise, we're going to send you up for an overnight, or set you up with an overnight stay and a $150 dining credit at Ocean Casino Resort, and a pair of tickets as MMR rocks Cage the Elephant, Friday, October 24th at Ovation. Did I say October 24th?
Yeah.
Friday, October 24th.
This is a cool way to say it.
October 24th at Ovation Hall in Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Sound pretty good to you, Denise?
That sounds awesome because I love Ocean and I love Cage the Elephant.
Hey, perfect. All right, hang on a second. We'll get your info and we'll send you off into the weekend. A very happy person. Tickets for Cage the Elephant, by the way, go on sale today. They just went on sale about 35 minutes ago. So get your tickets now. I would like to take this moment to thank our sponsors. The Preston and Steve Show is brought to you today by Dunkin' and also brought to you by Acme Markets, fresh foods, local flavors, and brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors. Visit PellaPhilly.com to schedule an appointment today. Next week on our program, we're not here on Monday, just a heads up on that, and short week with the holiday as well next week. But we do have planned, and we're working on some other things. But Rick Tocchet is going to be joining us in the studio.
Your new head coach of the Philadelphia Flyers.
Very cool that we'll get him in studio.
I can't wait to show him the video of me right at the glass when he fought Neil Sheehy in the Stanley Cup playoffs back in, God, it had to have been 1990.
At the Spectrum.
At the Spectrum, yeah.
So we'll get into that and more, and that is it. We are done. Rage on. Have yourself a great weekend, and we will see you later, gang. Bye-bye.